TGG, I'm getting offended.
TGG, this was the phrase we thought of.
Legal counsel advised us to replace what was supposed to go here.
TGG, it isn't funny until someone gets hurt.
There's bugs in my skin. You're responsible for me. I'm getting offended. I'm a big fat gamer.
TGG, the voices are normal, and you should listen to them.
TGG, I'm getting offended.
TGG, this was the phrase we thought of.
Legal counsel.
Hello, everyone. It's us. It's TGG back for another episode, another Friday, another day that we are hacking the airwaves, manipulating mainframes.
I think you have the cast unmuted because I'm getting feedback.
I do not.
Okay, well, I'm hearing everything twice and it's not on my end. Oh, wait,
Okay.
it is on my end. That's
Yeah.
my bad. Anyways, continue.
I was like, oh, is that me?
Anyways, another Friday that we're coming to you live. As always, I'm joined by my co-host Evan Prince.
Well, that's me.
That's you. That's you. And we have a special guest, awesome guy, friend of the show. Is that a little presumptuous, maybe? Is it a little too, we're moving a little too
I think we're
fast?
entering the friend zone on the third
Arguably.
episode.
Ooh.
Arguably Homo sapien.
Yeah. And, we're going to be talking about some things today. We got some news, some big news about maybe Legacy of Kain remasters on the way.
Maybe some
stuff.
I told you so's. Maybe some we were right.
We're going to have a little conversation.
Did you start introducing me and then not actually say my name?
Yeah.
No, I think I said it.
I didn't hear it.
Well, there's no way to prove it, so...
Matt at Hidden Machine.
Hello, I'm Matt from Hidden Machine. Hey,
Yes,
everybody,
Hidden
it's the
Machine.
best YouTube channel. If you're looking for a great niche channel to check out, you want to get in on the ground floor before things get cringe, now's the time.
There you go.
What you sipping on there?
A little whiskey, and also I got the, the Fever Tree tonic water.
No. What is that?
I don't know what that is.
What's tonic
It's like an
water?
organic tonic water you can find. I see it at like Target and shit lately. I used to get it at the health food store, but they did a cola. So I'm doing a whiskey cola, but it's like an organic, very like bare bones cola syrup with it.
Sounds
And
delicious.
it's quite a treat.
That sounds yummy. You're getting blitzed?
Yes, I've been drinking since 3 a.m. and
Okay.
I have no signs of slowing down.
Little bender.
And I am so ready to say something really good on the show tonight.
Little bender.
Okay.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, but as he said, go check out his channel. Oh, but this time, I know you guys are probably getting used to it. You're probably getting settled in. Every week, new massive upgrades coming to the show. It's almost like you can't even recognize it anymore. And this will continue, but new upgrade, links to the guests and co-hosts channels are in the description. Oh my God.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. We this new feature spent quite a few weeks in R&D. We had our R&D team working on a way to factor in linking, channels and guests and whatnot. So shout out to our R&D team for this technological breakthrough. Pretty soon, I'm assuming most podcasts are going to be ripping us off on this one.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they always do, but what can you do?
As the show goes on, I try to get myself zoomed out a little further so I don't. So you ever look at like I don't know if you have any like nieces or nephews that are in like kindergarten or first grade, second grade, and there's like a class picture you might see hanging on the fridge or something.
Yeah.
Family members in school, and you see the one kid who is like 6 times larger than every other kid.
Yeah.
That's
way
how I
too
feel
big.
when I'm on this show.
You're good now. I think that's fridge picture, but I think pulled back.
Do you want me like lean in closer?
You're kind of in the middle. Oh.
We should have a timer to see, or like a poll running to see how long it takes for my mic cable messes up. I'm getting a new one this weekend.
Oh my God, really?
So this is the last. I was
another
on stream.
upgrade.
Yes, I was on stream yesterday, and it went out. And one of my very generous, frequent viewers donated me $50 and said, "Buy a new mic cable this weekend." So
They're getting nice ass cable for $50.
Yeah, that's a good cable.
So I'm headed to Guitar Center this weekend to get a new mic cable. So this should be the final hurrah of the glitchy 30-foot cable with a short.
That's
Better
like a
get
30
some gold tips.
Yeah.
That's why it's
Yeah.
glitchy. So let's have a poll on how long we make it. Anyways, go on.
Yeah. Okay. So, well, before we get into the news, before we get into the happenings, what have you guys been up to? Hidden Machine. It's been a while since we've had you on the show. What you doing? What you been working on? What are you watching? Playing?
Hey, so right now we have our flagship series here on the channel called Yeah, I've Played, where myself and Jordan Hill, my partner in crime, we play the same game at the same time, and then we get together and discuss it in a long-form session. We got like a 10-hour episode on Max Payne 3. We got 17 hours on Heavy Rain.
Hell yeah.
And today I was playing Deadly Premonition in preparation for the next episode of Yeah, I Played.
There you go.
That's a-
How you liking
that's
it?
Deep one.
It is.
It's weird.
Have you played it?
Yeah, I have a video on it.
He did a video on it.
Just the
Okay.
first one. I haven't done the second one.
I didn't know you made videos. It's pretty. It's like. It's kind of amazing and really, really shit at the same time.
Yes.
He just summed up
and it's-
everyone's thoughts on it
Yep.
for years.
Yeah, I know.
It's so weird. It's so hard to reconcile with, because it is just
Yeah.
there's so many like high points and then such low points at the same time. It's great. It's
Very
weird.
low points.
Yes.
I'm
Yeah.
still getting that double.
Yeah.
But it's just such a unique experience, and there's not really any alternatives to what Deadly Premonition has to offer. Wouldn't you agree, Zach?
You
That
know
was a
what
good
it
one.
feels like?
That was
It
a good
feels
one.
like if they didn't fix Alan Wake, that's how Deadly Premonition, like,
You mean the original open world variant of Alan Wake they were working on?
Yeah,
yeah, I feel like it could have come out just like this.
that's true. That's a good point. I haven't really heard anybody make that comparison, but that's a good yeah.
Yeah, like if you play Alan Wake with like the you can go into, like, if you play it on PC, you can go into Steam and the Steam commands and turn on like a free camera.
Mhm.
And then you just like you click in both sticks on your controller and it opens up a free cam.
Okay.
And you can cruise around the entire game world on a free camera. And the whole open world is there.
Wow.
Like I mean, the whole game is on one contiguous map for the most part. And you can see, like, oh, okay, they were trying. If you read that, there's a book, there's Alan Wake Illuminated. It's like a making of book they put together, and they talk more about like how the game was initially more mission based, and you would be going this place and this place, that place, and it was like a
It was a lot like Deadly Premonition. You could drive
it was
like
a
vehicles
lot like
and
Deadly
stuff.
Premonition.
Yeah, yeah, that's wild. I mean, and they both are so like, it's weird because they're both drawing from very similar places.
Yeah.
but
The
they
same place.
They end at such different areas. Like the end result is so crazy. It's wild how you can make a game that has very similar inspirations, but they just take it in totally different directions.
Well, the inspiration is just David Lynch.
Yeah,
I was about
Which
to
is
say
like,
it's all
Everybody's
just.
got their own asshole interpretation of his work.
I mean,
That's true.
Life is Strange had a bunch of Twin Peaks inspiration, so much that where
Yeah.
they have like "Fire Walk with Me" written on a window in Life is Strange, just to make
Wow.
sure you really know.
Yeah, I don't know. I think sometimes people use the word inspiration when they mean
Lynchian.
reference,
Truly
know?
Lynchian.
when they've just put an Easter egg in the game. Doesn't necessarily mean inspiration. It's like Kojima. Like I've said this before, but Kojima does that a lot, where he says, "I was inspired by this movie," and then it's not. He just like put like a little scene from that movie in the game or something.
Right, but what
I
if
know.
you put like 50 scenes from the movie in your game?
Yeah.
Is
Well-
that an inspiration at that point?
Even then, I feel like if you write or author even just the smallest thing, and it was because you viewed something, that's technically you being inspired by it. Like,
Yeah.
I'm trying to get myself in focus here.
I
and it's
see
just
that. You're
not
doing
working.
something. Do you have a jewel? Is that a jewel?
Yeah.
How the fuck? Where do you even get those anymore?
Oh, I got a case of vintage jewels.
Oh, that's not a jewel. Okay, so a rare vintage jewel collection.
No, I'm trying to get my camera in focus. I don't know what I think it's because I'm looking at myself on a delay.
Yeah. Oh, almost.
I was
Not
almost
quite.
there.
Do you have
Anyway,
autofocus on?
I'm playing a lot of Deadly Premonition,
Okay.
and that's the big thing. And also, the next main video I'm working on for the channel is about the history of Hitler in video games.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Dude, that's a good idea. That's a damn good idea.
I bought every Hitler game I could on Steam,
including
and
the
I
sex
made
one.
an equal donation to the Southern Poverty Law Center to try to balance it out, because I felt like I was like, I think these Hitler games are just shit posts, but in case they are
Oh,
white
man.
supremacist propaganda,
Karmic scales.
let me balance it out.
That's funny.
Oh man.
That's a good idea. That's a really good idea for a video. There was I don't know if you guys have ever seen this, but Never Knows Best a while ago did a video on like porn games Maybe I shouldn't say that.
Oh yeah.
Nudity.
Yeah, I know all about that.
Nudity games. He did one on that I thought was, actually like objectively looking at them, because it's just a sector of the game world that never gets like really objectively criticized because
Probably rightly so.
people. I mean, because the motivation in the market is different, so they don't really expect much. It's
The
weird.
thing that I'm finding is that the majority of Hitler games are also porno games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get it. Yeah.
Yep.
That's wild.
But it also, I mean, not to get too deep into the future, because originally this was going to be one video and I broke it off into two because it just felt better.
Mm-hmm.
But it led to a deeper piece about just like far right politics in gaming.
Mm-hmm.
And
because there's a whole lot of that.
Yeah.
there is. Like, and the
Really?
fandom, sure. But also, like, I'm finding, like, I didn't realize there were so many games that are like, like self-proclaimed far-right propaganda.
Just to clarify, these are the sex games that are the.
These are not the
self-
sex games. No, at this point,
Okay.
like
I was confused.
I found several Kyle Rittenhouse games.
Oh shit. Jesus.
I don't even know how much more we can talk about this on the cast.
Yeah,
I'm pretty
maybe
sure
we
sometimes
should-
you'll get demonetized just for saying the mustache guy's name.
Yeah, maybe we
I mean,
should-
how much money are you gonna make on this? $19?
I mean, well,
$19
I'll cash app you
is-
after the show.
Listen, we're paying
$19 is a hamburger.
We're paying I finished a video game 7,000. Oh wait, no, I'm not supposed to say. Just to be
That's
on the
so-
show.
What a punk.
I know.
Anyway, yeah. So
ridiculous.
I mean, I found a whole lot of stuff where I was like, holy shit! I didn't realize there are some like far right influencers who've been making video games under different names.
Yeah.
And I just, yeah, so I have this whole other, it was kind of one video and I broke it off into two because I don't like the idea when someone goes, someone's got some like far right politics. They go, oh, he's as bad as Hitler. I go, well, I mean,
Yeah.
one person is making a shitty decision that you don't like. The other person orchestrated a genocide. It's not necessarily comparable.
Yeah.
So I felt like if I put those two things into one video, it might kind of like be making a connection I'm not trying to make.
Mm-hmm. That's
But
true.
man, I found some really, it's really funny because so much of the stuff I'm seeing are like these guys who are lamenting the sort of like destruction of Western culture and art is getting shittier and everything is, being destroyed and it's DEI is the, everything sucks and everything's being watered down and they make the shittiest fucking games I've ever played. And it's like, you'd think these guys who are so up their own ass about making fine art would be able to make something better than a Flash game.
Yeah.
But they
Well,
can't.
I mean that happens a lot just with criticism of, I think, criticizing a medium and then like trying to make something in it.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously are two different things, but you set yourself up for failure a little bit too because you're being so critical. I think those types of people though usually how do I say this? They get the grifters at least. I don't know who specifically you're talking about, but the grifters at least tend to, get more attention from criticizing heavily.
Yes.
And then that
Well-
really sets yourself up for failure when you try to create something.
I will
so-
say, isolated from any political ideas or concepts, you don't have to be a composer to recognize the difference between Beethoven and Ed Sheeran, in terms of in terms of
I
complexity,
fucking love
you know?
Ed Sheeran. Don't you start talking. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not.
In
I'm
terms
not
of
even going to go
What he did
forward with that
Eminem,
bit.
it's probably one of Eminem's hardest tracks.
He
All
does.
I'm
He
saying
does
is you-
make. I will say this about Ed Sheeran. He makes. He does collaborations.
A lot
with
of money.
G-Shock a lot, and he's made some pretty cool watches. He's a watch guy, so he's cool. He knows watches.
Well, I'll
Maybe
be
he should
watching
stick to
that guy for a cool wristwatch.
Yeah, people used to ask me what I thought
I don't have a
was.
badum thing on the soundboard, but I was reaching for it as if it did exist.
You were ready. People used to ask me what I thought was the worst song ever written, and I would say it was "The Shape of You" by Ed Sheeran.
That's not the worst song ever written.
I stand by that being the single worst song I've ever heard in my life.
Have you ever heard
And
the
I've heard some
Steven
garbage.
Seagal song? where he
I've
does
heard
the
it.
Jimmy-
I've heard it.
The
There's a
accent.
there's a whole album. I think the Ed
She
Sheeran
want
song is
the
fundamentally
punani.
worse because it's popular and people like it. But that's a whole different conversation, I guess.
Yeah, true. What about you, Evan? What have you been into?
Well, I can say with some certainty I have not been looking up a bunch of games with hyper controversial political figures. But now I'm thinking about seeking out all of the games with representation of Chairman Mao Zedong for being the #1 genocider of human history. That's who I
Not
want
as
to talk
many as you
about.
would think. I've been looking into that too.
How many? Let's hear this low number.
I found two.
2. Okay.
Let's hear this low number. What is the number?
He said 2.
It's 2.
2 people. That was it. 2 people. Okay.
What have you
Then
actually been doing?
Editing this one video nonstop all week.
That's it.
Every Star Wars game on the Game Boy Advance. Yeah, it's
okay.
it's been my entire life. Well, my girlfriend and I watched an old movie called The Yearling. But
Was
other
it
than
good?
that, it was pretty good. Very old school.
The
Yeah, it was
Yearling.
cool. Yeah, it's like a coming of age story about this like little family that lives out in the woods and is like trying to struggle and make it on their own and grow crops. And
That's
he
pretty cool.
adopts a little baby deer, and then he ends up having to kill it because he keeps eating all the crops. And it's like a losing your innocence and becoming a man kind of thing.
Okay.
It was good. It was a good movie.
Um,
Yeah. This comment says you should cover Stalin, so now we'll have the whole trifecta.
We got it all. We could combine all the videos at the end. Big collaborative project. I think Hidden Machine would be doing the legwork there though. Speaking of movies, last time you were on, Matt, you recommended me a movie I still haven't watched, but I will say that the algorithm is starting to work. Like it is pushing the movie every single time I open
Showing
up a
you clips?
streaming app. It's on there. It was the Christopher, what is it called? The movie with Christopher Walken.
Kings of New York.
Yes.
All right.
Yes. Every time I open up a streaming app, it's on there, and I've gotten so close a couple times to watching it, and I still haven't. But maybe next time I will. Have
I think
watched
it's
it.
one of the coolest things he's ever done. He looks so fucking cool in that movie.
I haven't seen Dune Part 2, and apparently he's in that.
Yeah.
I
know
haven't
that.
seen that either.
Yeah, apparently.
I haven't seen it, but I've seen so many like clips and edits of it. I've basically seen it.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of Dune, so I know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I've
thought-
tried to get into it. It's kind of not connecting with me for some reason.
It's not my
Yeah, I
favorite
think that-
thing, but I do like it.
I think Tolkien's reason for not liking the Dune book is a lot of the same reasons I don't like the movie. I saw the first one.
The book's good. The book's good. The Lynch movie is fun. The new
Never seen
movies
the Lynch
are
movie.
the new movies are good. What is his name? Villeneuve, whatever. They're good. His movies. They feel more like his movies than Dune movies, really. But they're good.
Yeah,
they're
I
interesting.
know there's been a lot of like changes made in the second one, or so I heard from people who really liked the book.
I've been. We talked about this last time, but I've been chugging through this Sid Meier's memoir.
Oh wow.
It's actually good.
Yeah.
It's really good. He he states in the beginning that like the point of the book is for him to go through every single game that he made throughout his entire career and like talk about at least a little bit the development. In some chapters, there's 4 games in it, and then like Civilization has its whole chapter, or like Sid Meier's Pirates has its whole chapter. But it is really good if you like sort of beginning start of game development as like even a thing stuff. It's really good. Like it very much has that Masters of Doom kind of vibe to it, but it's a lot more funny, and he's a lot more like self-referential. He like is very honest in the first like page about the fact that he plagiarized a lot of ideas in the beginning of his career. He says like something about like 73% of my ideas were super unique, and then the other percent was just straight up plagiarism. But like that's how you get there to the end, because in the beginning he just was ripping off ideas for other games and making ports for them, because that wasn't really a huge deal yet. But it's good. It's an interesting book, and a book that I would have never read because I don't really know much about Sid Meier.
Is it him writing it, or is it like him and a ghostwriter?
It's him and a ghostwriter. It's fucking somebody I've never heard of before. I looked them up, and I think they've done a few of their own things, but nothing crazy. It's Jennifer Lee Noonan. It feels like it's all written from his perspective though. Like it's an autobiography, so it feels like he wrote it, but it's probably not much of him.
I need to address this comment. Somebody said, Evan, I like your videos. Watched a lot of them, but you look dopey and I could win in a fight against you. Nice builder grade fan in the frame.
Thank you.
Please
do more. Please do more of that to Evan, not to me.
I need you to follow me on Twitter and post physique so I can
post physique.
So I need you to post physique so I can see if you really could win in a fight against me. That's what I want.
Big Daddy said.
I think that's very fair. I think anyone who posts threats should also post a picture.
Yeah,
Yes.
Let's see it.
Yeah.
Follow
That should
me
just
on
be a
Twitter.
rule.
Tag me. Post your physique. I want to see it.
Let's
go.
That's what we need to use AI for, is making it so that AI can detect when you've threatened someone and force you to post a picture, otherwise the threat won't post.
Kind of
I have a
burl.
friend.
I hope that
I
means
have a
fucking jacked. Fucking jacked. Wait, I'm not in frame.
He's
There you
lying.
go.
He's lying.
It's there. It's all there. Do you guys ever I have a buddy who's shown up several times when someone talks shit. He showed up and just rolled up on him.
Mhm.
That's so
on Facebook
funny.
Live. Just
Hell
to be
yeah.
All right, hey, I did it.
Yeah.
What's up?
Yeah.
And they've always immediately backed down.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I have. I think everybody has the friend that is like, I want that guy with me if I'm in some shit. Somebody comes.
But you
to
aren't
your
that
mind.
guy.
I'm not really that. I mean,
I'm not either.
I don't know. I'm probably.
You don't just see red.
No, I'm probably
I
more
do,
the
but
one
I
that
go,
causes.
but I'm not gonna roll up because I'm a schlub.
He's a schlub.
I don't know. I think I'm not the guy that's gonna support it. I'm usually the guy that's people get angry with me for no reason all the time. In the last
You have a
5
bad
years.
attitude a lot of the time.
I think I think I have maybe the male version of resting bitch face or whatever that is. I think people just see me and they're like, I gotta make an issue with him. Still never been in a street fight though, so that's good. But
Well,
yeah,
drop a pin. Let's make it happen.
You want to? We could do it.
I'm not me. I'm not. I just mean let's find somebody for you.
Okay. Maybe that's what me and Evan will do when we meet up. We should box.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll have a boxing match. Shout out to Neosai in the chat, our homie.
What's up? Yeah, Mage Sight says, but you do know that guy and he would be there for you. 100%. I have somebody that's that they're 100% that guy. I'm definitely not 100% that guy. Okay.
You're not that
Evan,
guy,
are
pal.
you that guy?
You're not that guy, pal.
Are you that guy?
Are you
Evan?
that guy? Would you show up if?
Probably. If
That's
only if only because that's just a good excuse to get into a fight with somebody.
Totally. Yeah.
That part of my fantasy. I really, really, really don't want to get sued, and either have to pay a fine or spend any time in jail because some dickweed wants to throw hands. So my fantasy is having a situation where I can do that and have zero legal liability.
A self-defense scenario.
That's true.
Self-defense. It's classic. It's classic. Whether or not I would win, don't know. Doesn't really matter. But at least I, would have an opportunity with free of legal liability.
I think
that is a.
that's.
I think a lot of people have that dream.
Yeah, that's every guy's dream, right?
Yeah,
Is to
that's
get into a fight.
it's the Fight Club dream. He's
Yeah.
what you want to.
It is.
Yeah, that's the
it is.
Fight
You
Club
want to be
dream.
able to do it without repercussion. You want let's leave
Yeah.
it here and just let it all happen.
Yeah.
But there's too many people who would be get their feelings hurt and then call the cops on you.
Totally.
I've boxed people in my backyard drunk plenty of times because I have boxing gloves. I box semi regularly and I have stuff and when you have equipment, every time someone's at your house, they want to do it. They say let's do it, and the only suitable space to do it in is my backyard. So that's happened a few times. Boxing drunk is the worst thing ever. And I always say, no, I don't want to do it because I'm drunk right now and it's going to be terrible. And they insist, and then
I can't control my power levels.
no, it's like,
I'll destroy you accidentally.
it's like I can't breathe after like 20 seconds and I'm stumbling around and it's like physically the worst.
Failing constant breathalyzers.
I can't be held accountable for what I'm about to do.
Yeah,
myself.
I'm a demon. Okay, we should. You guys want to talk about this Legacy of Kain thing?
Oh yeah, is it time?
Yeah, we should probably talk about this. Okay, so just for some backstory, we should probably set the scene a little bit.
Do it.
About 2 weeks ago, we did an episode where we covered some news. And this news was about the fact that a Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver graphic novel was on the way. The Dead Shall Rise. It was on the way. It's a prequel series. They released a cover for it. It is being worked on. Now, we gotta address some things here.
Oh yeah.
You want to?
Oh, yeah.
Should we address some things? Is that
Absolutely, we should address some things.
okay? So when we said this, when we talked about this, people,
That my cord is hanging in there.
people, they said that we were clickbaiting. They said that we were, you know, drudging up things that didn't exist. We were making stuff up for views.
I can confirm that I was on my alt account saying a lot of that kind of stuff.
Oh, so it was just all you.
No, not entirely me.
You were just some of it.
I was just
Well,
jumping on when I saw an opportunity.
All the better for you to be here for this revelation.
On the bandwagon.
I'm
well, you could
getting
be our
served
face.
a big slice of pie, and I think you know what kind of pie it is.
Big slice of pie, because you know our sort of read of the situation was this means there are things coming in the future. I didn't expect it to be 2 weeks out, but now we are seeing. I think this was originally posted on the Reset Era forums, but this is a tweet from Wario64 that.
Zoom in on that shit.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, hold.
Oh my god, there we go.
Oh. Okay, there we go. That's probably good. No.
Hey, what is that? What does that say? What does that say right there?
I thought it said Metal Gear Solid when I glanced at these pictures. You guys, this looks like the old like 1 or 2 Metal Gear Solid kind of stuff, doesn't it?
The font?
Yeah, like if you're squinting at it, tiny. Maybe I'm an ass, but that's what
Oh, maybe a
is
little
that
bit.
Metal Gear?
Yeah, if you just glance, if you did one of these, I could see that. Just a quick about face, but this says Soul Reaver 1 and 2 remastered. Now this is some sort of stand, some sort of display diorama for a small statue. It looks like, and this says Soul Reaver 1 and 2 remastered, supposedly hinting towards a future project. Now,
Someone made that logo.
yeah,
That's true. That's not something like that was someone was paid to do that.
yes,
That was an intentional logo. Crystal Dynamics is represented, and this is a figure available at SDCC.
yes, and there's like this is the Dark Horse logo. This is like Crystal Dynamics is down here. I don't know if this is the comic published by Dark Horse, or no, it's published by that company. you were
Bitbot
talking
Media.
about, Bitbot Media. So I don't know.
Also, there was an update on that. I
maybe
need to look up. But
maybe
yeah,
maybe
clickbait.
the figure is made by Dark Horse. But
Clickbait.
yeah. So
It was clickbait for sure, but you
In your
guys
face.
probably had some insider information.
we always have insider information. That's the
Yeah,
other
who-
half of
who
our
you think
budget.
you're talking to?
One half of our budget is for I finished a video game. The other half is to bribe people and obtain information illegally. But so this looks. I mean, this looks like we're getting something. Now, again, this could be fake. Maybe I don't know. I don't know why it would be fake. I don't know. I'm trying to think through like how this would be fake, how somebody would set up a fake display. At
I don't think
Comic-Con.
it's fake because the update I saw is that when people went to go look at this, the card had been removed.
Oh shit.
Which okay, I guess maybe that means that it was
Yeah, 'cause
never
it
there in
hasn't
the
been
first
announced.
place. But
Yeah. I mean, this would be a good fake image if that's the case.
it'd be really good.
But I mean, it's also
and it's in the video as well, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't
it's-
think
it's
someone
right.
could fake that with like that much,
movement
like that quickly. That
yeah.
you know, the way the video looks. I don't
Yeah.
know. I mean, but also at the same time, we are in a post-truth era, so who knows what this is?
And you know that if the card was removed, then maybe this is a situation that they had made up cards because they this is something that's going to be announced soon-ish, and they were ahead of street date or whatever, and threw this out there, and then as soon as this broke online, people were getting yelled at. But I don't know.
Yeah, Neosai's kind of saying what I was thinking. Legacy of Kain's pretty niche for someone to go through that effort of faking.
That's
This-
true. That's true, actually. If this was Metal Gear Solid or Silent Hill, I would be a
Like
little bit more
GTA
skeptical.
7.
Yeah, that's yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not believing shit.
And you
But-
see, Mage Sight says this is a big oopsie, but I think this actually ties back into what we were talking about last week, where I think some of these leaks are calculated. Like he's saying, someone
did.
lost their job. No, I think this was on purpose. They
Yeah,
wanted.
this
I think they wanted this to get out there to be like, oh,
Totally.
remaster maybe.
this could fit
It's the-
that theory.
It's
for
like the
sure.
Paris Hilton sex tape all over again.
Damn. Haven't thought about her in a while. Okay. But
That's hot. You need that as a sound drop.
we'll add that. We've got. I'm starting to fill up pages here. We're getting a little too many.
But he only ever uses the I'm hard one.
That's my favorite one. It fits like almost every situation. I mean, it's great. Yeah, it's they're clearly working on something. That adds to it. The fact that this is a niche series, not a lot of people doing stuff like that. I think we're getting an announcement soon-ish. We weren't clickbaiting. We had real theories. I do want to add to this something that you talked about, Evan, something that you noticed on Twitter. Now, your whole theory from the beginning of the graphic novel announcement, because you're a fan of, what's his name?
Cell Dweller, yeah.
Cell Dweller. And his company is behind the graphic novel. Your theory was that possibly he could be working on an album, right?
Right.
Because he works on albums to go along with the stuff that his company makes. And he just, what did his tweet say?
He was talking about that he got a bunch of new equipment in his studio for a big project he was working on, and then he tagged Bitbot Media in that exact post, which the only thing they're working on is this novel right now. So it's
Yeah.
pretty, yeah. So I called that
For
out
the
2 weeks ago
audiobook.
as well. Yeah, I was.
Yeah, I haven't seen, I mean, nobody else is talking about that angle. And I think we kind of won on this one a little bit because you're such a big fan.
Sure, I own a lot of the merch. I read the original Cell Dweller book. I've been listening to him since I was like 15.
Yeah. So, I mean, because your theory that you were talking to me about, I don't know if we talked about this on the podcast, but was that he's going to make an album to coincide with that. And because he's so popular outside of this, just with music stuff,
Yeah.
that could bring a lot of new people to the series.
Because my prediction is he's going to release an album called like Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver, something, soundtrack or something. People are going to see it on Cell Dweller's page, which has over 600,000 monthly listeners. They're going to listen to it. They're going to go read the book. And especially if they coincide it with a game announcement or something, it's just going to turn into a hype snowball.
Yeah. If that happens, that's huge for the series because it's
Album would probably slap also because he's super good.
people know about Legacy of Kain, but it is, like Neosai said, it is still niche comparatively.
I want to ask something. Have you guys both played the games?
I've never played a single Legacy of Kain game.
I've played, I'm a huge fan of all of them.
When did you play it?
I for the first time or like most recently.
I guess both.
I played them a lot when I was a kid. My dad was super into it, and I used to play Blood Omen a ton on the PS1. I used to play Soul Reaver a ton. I used to play Blood Omen 2 like a lot, and that game fucking sucks. But Yeah, I played all of them a lot when I was a kid, and then I did the Legacy of Kain video. That was the last time I played them, was a couple years ago.
How'd you play them? Most recently, I mean.
I think I emulated. I think I emulated all of them. No,
Because I've had trouble getting most of these games to run, and I've talked to other people who that's been their main issue. Like, they have fond memories of it from childhood, and I do too. I was like, yeah, I remember playing that fucking game. That was really cool. And like, what's the first one's Blood Omen, right?
yes.
Yeah, like that game's sick in its own way.
Mm-hmm.
And then when like Soul Reaver came out, that was huge. Like even
Yeah.
just the marketing was everywhere. I remember seeing that character everywhere. I was so stoked on it, even before I even knew what it was. It just worked on me. You know what I mean?
But you've had trouble. Are you? Well, the PC port. I know the PC port.
PC ports are bunk.
They're terrible. The PC port for Soul Reaver actually got delisted from Steam because it was so bad, and I guess there was talks about working on it or something to fix it. But yeah, there was a bunch of fixes. Basically, every game, if you wanted to play it on PC, you had to install a shit ton of fan fixes and stuff to even be able to play it. I actually have Soul Reaver 2. I have all of them except for Soul Reaver 2 on PlayStation discs. I have them all physical.
Cool.
So I did play them that way too. Yeah, that was.
I want to play them. I just haven't been able to get them to run yet.
Yeah,
so
it's
I don't
kind of
know.
a pain. Blood Omen 1. Yeah, Quester says in chat, Blood Omen 1 is on GOG. That got released like a year or two ago.
I played that one through GOG, and the other ones I couldn't get going really.
Yeah, Soul Reaver 1, 2, and why the fuck am I blanking on the name of the third one? What is it? Defiance. That's what it is. Defiance. Those ones are all really hard to get running. But I mean, if you do, they're so weird because they did. Honestly, I do feel like you would like them because they remind me of like what Remedy is trying to do with their series now. It reminds me of that kind of thing where you have this universe of separate stories and games that are like crossing over and overlapping, and it feels like something that was just so damn ambitious for the time that it was a little too ahead of itself. Probably would have worked a lot better now.
I spent so much time researching the lore. It's so fucking cool to me.
Yeah, the lore is great.
Damn, I wish I could play the fucking game.
Yeah. If they make these the thing that I did want to talk about too, with this is Soul Reaver 1 and 2 remastered is kind of weird to me. I know those are the most notable, but man, leaving out the story of Blood Omen is going to be interesting, especially for Soul Reaver 2, because Soul Reaver 2 is the one that kind of like gets into all the shit, the time travel stuff. So it's going to be odd, but maybe they'll include some sort of like Metal Gear Master Collection kind of thing.
Have they said like what studio is handling it?
No,
I reckon Crystal Dynamics because their logo was on there.
That would make sense.
That's the only name.
I would
that's
hope
on
they're
there.
actually doing it, not just
It looks like
working
there's
through like a finishing studio or something.
Oh, the other name is just another Dark Horse logo, but yeah, it says Dark Horse and Crystal Dynamics, so I would assume it's them.
To answer Mage Sight's question, I probably would not do a video on it, but I might like stream it for a day or two, maybe. I don't know. Until I, started seeing your favorite son's videos, I didn't know the difference between Legacy of Kain and Kain and Lynch. So
It's the same thing. It's all the same universe. It's just an alternate timeline.
yeah, so I
Sick.
maybe I'd play it.
Yeah. I will definitely, of course, I'll do a video if this actually materializes and becomes a real thing. Why don't you guys hang out with chat real quick? I gotta piss.
Yeah. Right now, they have not been officially announced, but the logo was leaked at a convention recently. We showed that earlier in the stream. Right now, my time is about to get sucked up by the Bounty Hunter remaster dropping on the 1st. So that's what I'm worried about.
When was that announced?
That was announced like a month and a half ago.
I can't believe I didn't hear about that.
I can't believe you didn't hear about that. Yeah, I saw G-Man Lives post on Twitter today being like, how has nobody like been talking about the Bounty
Oh.
Hunter remaster? And I was like, dude, it was everywhere. People were talking about it all the time whenever it got announced like 2 weeks
and
ago.
I know a lot of people who are like really into that game.
It's a great game. It was the first Star Wars game I covered on my channel.
That's crazy.
Yeah, let's see. Let me check the announcement on IGN. It's got a lot of views. Yeah, it's got 135,000 views on
Is there-
PlayStation. 100. What?
Is there footage of it?
Yeah.
Does
There's a
it
trailer.
look cool?
It looks great. I mean, they're better. It comes out in like 4 days. Yeah, there's footage of it. It looks great.
What do you guys
It's
think?
gonna
What
be
the fuck?
it's gonna be
I
dropping
can't
for.
believe I feel like there's a bunch of games from like 10, 12, 15 years ago that are getting remasters right now. A lot of them look pretty fucking good. Like, it
Yeah.
looks they're just kind of like doing a clean HD, nice version without changing things too crazy.
Mhm. That's what they're kind of doing. The developer doing it has kind of a bad reputation recently, but it looks like they're doing good on this one. Be hard
Do you
to
know who
mess
it
it up.
is?
Yeah, it's Aspire. Do you know
Okay,
Aspire?
yep.
Oh, is this
Yeah,
the,
so they
this is the
did-
Bounty Hunter?
Yeah, they did the Battlefront collection and they messed it up bad. But they've done other games like the Tomb Raider remasters that people were pretty fond of. So
They
Oh,
they
those,
had,
those are pretty great.
they had a pretty
Yeah.
good reputation up until that.
they've screwed up 2 games and they're both Star Wars games and their
Yeah.
screw ups were bad. One of them was quite possibly illegal. And the other, no, they both actually were possibly illegal because they promised downloadable content for a game and then canceled it and didn't deliver it, and then wouldn't refund the game. They would just let somebody choose to swap it out with a different game from their catalog. Yeah, and then with the Battlefront collection thing, it wasn't just that the server sucked; it was that they stole someone's like mods and then used it and
Mhm.
didn't credit them. So they've really been hurting their reputation recently. But I'm hoping this bounty hunter thing runs smooth. They've added a costume now where if you beat the game, you can play through it again as Boba Fett, which is cool. That wasn't in the
Sick.
original. That's very exciting. Really, if it just plays well, upscales and looks good, 60 FPS, 4K, I think most people will be pretty happy with it.
Again, it's like poetry, so if they rhyme.
Pretty much. I mean, who could say it better?
The man himself, the creator. Okay, I had another thing gaming related to talk about. I don't know if you guys saw this. I think this came out today. But there's a video game strike happening now.
I've seen a little bit on that.
The voice actor strike?
Yeah, the SAG-AFTRA members are going
Are you
on
going to
strike.
propose that we as gamers go on strike and we don't play or buy any games?
Well,
in the
I've been
meantime?
trying to propose that for years, but nobody will listen to me, and
Mm.
they call me really bad names.
I imagine they would, being
Yeah.
gamers.
Gamers. No, they are. I think this came out yesterday or something. Oh God, this is fucked up. I don't even know how to fix this. This is just. I guess we're gonna look at how Blue Lock Anime brings the action to life, because that was what I really wanted to talk about. No visual aid for this, or let me work on it. But they announced today that they announced yesterday that effective today, union members, people a part of SAG-AFTRA would be going on strike, who work on video games, obviously.
And what was the reasoning for this?
It was, I believe, tied back into the AI stuff.
Yeah, I figured.
They want
I figured.
protections against AI that they're not getting. Like, actors went on strike a while back.
Mhm.
You might remember that, and they did
yeah.
come to a compromise they thought was mutually beneficial. But voice actors did not get that. So any voice actors in SAG, AFTRA are on strike as of a few hours ago.
Yeah, they were not
I hope.
covered.
I worry that this is going to backfire on them, and it's just going to make developers say, "Bug it, we'll just hire amateur voice actors and then modulate their voice with AI."
Yeah.
It's possible.
That's doable.
I
That's
would
doable.
I would see the gaming industry like to be the one out of all of these that really loses.
I
Where-
mean,
where
Capcom
they,
goes
like,
out of their
draw-
way not to hire union actors.
Yeah, but like I could see the gaming one being the one where they draw the line and they say, "No, we're not. That's too far."
You're
Mage
on my
Sight.
shit list. Effective immediately.
Mage Sight, thank you for becoming a stepdad. You're not quite there yet, but we still appreciate you nonetheless. Thank you for becoming a member.
Thanks for stepping up.
Thanks for stepping up. You need to put that in your fucking thing. Like,
That's-
welcome, say thanks for stepping up.
That's a good one.
Thanks. He's the man. He's the dad who stepped up.
He's the dad who stepped up. Yeah, but I think I don't know. I'm kind of doomer on this. A little bit.
I don't know. You mean like a kind of a nihilistic view on it?
Yeah, he thinks he's gonna work out poorly for the people on strike.
Yeah, there's no right. Like, just think about any other industry in America. We'll just because that's what we can talk about as Americans.
Mhm.
You know, obviously the global picture is a little more complicated, but anything that's been introduced to automation in any sort of factor has totally decimated opportunity for any kind of independent contractor.
Yeah.
You know, and if you're like, oh, I want to have a shoe store, or I want to have a mom and pop corner store. It's it's so much harder to do anything like that because it's there's outlets. It's the same thing with radio and television. Those industries were a lot different in their early days. And as gaming has blown up, become a huge industry, it's totally going to shut the doors for anyone who's not just at a high corporate level doing the most shortcut, shady, cost-effective shit they can. And that always means shutting out small people, shutting out individuals, shutting out artists, in anything, in food, in industry, in any kind of merchandising or marketing of any product or service. As soon as you bring automation into it, it's oh, we can do it with a robot for cheaper. You're out of here.
Yeah.
It's not just the cost part. I think that's a big part of it, but there is the factor of sometimes, actually, I would say half the time, working with a person is a huge pain in the ass for a number of reasons. First off, they're not always reliable to deliver on time. Second off, sometimes they can be, difficult to work with. There is a certain voice actor who has done a few indie games that is developing a reputation for being very difficult to work with. I don't want to say who they are, but this voice actor tends to be very quick to block people and cut people off and stuff like that. So sometimes it can be very difficult. You pay somebody money and then they don't deliver the product. I'm not saying in favor of AI, by the way. I think AI is, I'm very doomer on AI as well. I think it's really, really bad overall, but I'm just saying it's not always a monetary incentive. Sometimes, people have a certain amount of money and they can't afford to lose that money trying to hire somebody who then ends up being unreliable or hard to work with.
I think that extends more into a gaming, a indie kind of gaming space, what you're talking about, especially, where it's because when you're working at a higher level, a high level, you almost never have to worry about that kind of stuff, unreliable people. You just kind of fucking, it just eats people up. But it's it's the
if
kind
you've
of thing
got the money for it.
Yeah, and if you do have the money for it, you're gonna do what what's cheapest. And if you don't have the money, you're gonna try to do what's best. Usually, a lot of indie games will kind of stretch their budget as much as they can to try to get the whatever they can. If it is someone who might fuck you, I could totally see it's the kind of solution with the AI stuff that it's equally appealing to big corporations and struggling artists.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I don't see how it could not just create a massive, obstacle for anyone trying to be a professional voice actor.
Yeah, it's it's a huge devil's bargain that everybody is being tempted to take right now, and some are, some aren't. Did you?
Everybody's gonna do it. Who when's the last time you went to a fucking tailor or you know what I mean? It's what do you buy that you're not buying from a factory?
Yeah. Yeah.
Anything you get in life. It's like you might know someone. It's like, oh, I have a buddy who has chickens. I get fresh eggs from him. It's like, cool. All right.
But everything like
What about
that
everything
is,
else you buy in your fucking life? Like, nope.
Yeah.
Like, as soon as there's a chance for a robot to do it, that's it forever until civilization collapses. There's no two ways about it.
Quester,
unless you're
I
into
was-
like niche boutique bullshit, which is like, you know, indie gaming will survive, but it's gonna be people who are really struggling hard to make those things happen.
Yeah,
because everybody else is gonna go AI.
Everything like
In my
that,
opinion.
everything like that is a hobby now. It's something you have to go out of your way for. I'm into watches, and nobody wears a fucking watch anymore. You don't realize how little people wear watches until you start wearing watches. And then, because, you know, I always get excited when I see somebody that's wearing a watch, because I'm like, ooh, I want to see what watch they're wearing. And every time I see the shape of a fucking watch, it's a fucking smartwatch. And it pisses me off every time, because I get excited and I go, ooh,
I
they're
would not
wearing a
put one of
watch.
those fucking things on my wrist.
Yeah, I don't like them. They're ugly. But
I think it's gonna like radiate my bloodstream or some shit.
Totally.
but I get pissed every time I see one in public, because I get so excited. But that's like across the board. There's shit like that for everything, you know, denim niches or whatever. But you know, the mass market version is always what's going to trump anything. You might have your little niches and your things, but whatever method, like you were saying, is cheapest is always going to win. Quester.
Yeah, we just haven't been able to automate the arts. We have to a degree where it's like everybody uses CGI, everyone uses auto-tune.
Yeah.
It's like anybody who's in music production knows, you know, if you're making a product that you're trying to sell, you're trying to get to a bigger market, you're using some form of some kind of automation that is building on your human capabilities. You're not going totally raw, one person to person interaction anymore with production of any commercial art.
And
really.
if you did, people would hate it. There was you guys probably aren't very familiar with a band called Suicide Silence, are you at all?
I know who they are, but I don't listen to them.
They're a deathcore band, and they put out an album in 2017. It was a self-titled album where the whole shtick was first off, they were deathcore, and this was more like hard, like heavy metal, less deathcore. But people said it sucked and its production was bad. But the whole thing about the album was that every song was performed live in one take at the same time. So it wasn't they track guitar then track drums. The whole band performed the song, you know, a couple of times, and then they used whatever the best take was. They produced that and they released it. And everybody said this album sounds awful, it's terrible. And I was like, no, it's just not produced like inorganically.
Yeah.
This is just what a live band playing sounds like. Like, people think they want it until they get it, and then they hate it.
Yeah, but that's because production is its own art, though, too. That's like that's a hard.
Yeah, and no, it totally evolves. Like, there's gonna be like people go, wow, you know, they did like really a good game. You're not even going to talk about the fact that they used AI to replace all the voice actors.
Yeah.
That's not even going to be part of the conversation in like half a generation.
He's really good at machine learning. That machine learning guy is great. He's fucking fantastic at it.
It's gonna be a kind of thing where you don't even, like, machine learning is even over the line. It's gonna be, oh, I just wrote my dialogue and now I have the app that just spits out the voices I need.
Mm-hmm.
Like, by the time people are using it, it's gonna just be like an industry standard tool, like anything else.
People will think that people will be like, oh, you know, he didn't use any auto-tune on this song, but he may not have, but there will be like 6 layers of one like clean line. It's like, it might not be auto-tune, but it's not real. Basically. You can't sing 6 layers and then pan 2 of each on left and right channels and like lower volumes. But you know, this AI thing is yes, by the way, TK, it was leaked at a convention, but the AI conversation is pretty interesting. There was not to talk about Star Wars some more, but there was a Star Wars fan film that came out today, released by the biggest Star Wars channel on YouTube called Star Wars Theory. People are really mad at it. They're shitting on it because they're calling it AI slop and all of this. But the only thing he did, it was all made original models in Blender and animated and all that. The only thing he did was he used AI to modulate the voice lines to sound like the actors. But the thing is, he paid real voice actors. He paid real voice actors to voice the lines and then used AI to modulate, not generate, just modulate their lines. So like at that point, people are calling it AI slop and saying AI is bad, but he didn't even use AI to avoid paying people, and also he's not making any money from it. He used John Williams music on purpose so that all of the money goes back to Disney.
Quester brought up the perfect thing in the chat. It's a very similar situation. Some like college kid made a school project that was like Scooby-Doo. It was a Scooby-Doo X
I remember
FNAF
all that, yeah.
animation thing. And it was pretty good. Like, it was good animation. And it got a lot of attention online because it was pretty good. But he used AI voices to emulate the Scooby-Doo cast members. And people started fucking coming after him. The voice actress for, I believe it was Velma, came after him as well and freaked out on him on Twitter and blocked him and shit.
Jeez.
And it was pretty crazy. And then I think people kind of cooled on it after that and said, like, you know, I don't think he was making any money on it. I don't think it was monetized. It was just kind of like a fun little project. But I don't know. Does YouTube fully regulate that yet? I know there's an option to check if it's AI,
No.
but can you still monetize it if you check if it's AI?
There's people using Joe Rogan AI voice to sell their product and still getting away with it.
Yeah, I see those fucking YouTube shorts all the time. It's like Elon
It's not
Musk,
regulated at
and he's
all.
talking and he's
They've basically like said like, hey, we should probably regulate that eventually. Maybe is all they've done.
Nobody knows.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to jump the gun too soon or whatever. Well, in this case, particularly not, because all these companies are scared if they jump into regulation, they might be like losing out on money in case people do relax on it. No, none of these companies are jumping to restrict AI usage. They're really dragging their feet, hoping people will just decide to forget about it. I'll tell you that.
What do you guys think if they do like a AI James McCaffrey for the Max Payne remakes?
Ooh, see, the thing is, like, I've always hated when they do shit like that to people who are dead.
Yeah.
But, like, I'd really have to question my own morals for a moment just because I'd like to hear James McCaffrey again. No, I'd probably, in all honesty, I think it's probably in poor taste.
Yeah, AI in general is it's a bad situation because the best possible thing to do is to completely eradicate it, but that's not an option. It won't ever come about.
It's
going to integrate itself into culture and society. And speaking based on what normally happens, people are going to be more okay with it because people who were 8 years old now are going to be 18 and not care. They're not going to care.
Yeah.
And the genie's out of the bottle. It's not going anywhere. It's going to integrate. Best case scenario is that it gets regulated into only being allowed to do certain things, but even that will be on a time clock. Eventually, like my prediction, what I've been telling people is I think pretty soon, within 2 to 5 years, people will be able to pull up their Spotify and use AI music generation. They're like going to integrate Suno into Spotify so that while they're working out, they can just type in the exact song they want to hear. It'll generate in 30 seconds and they can add it to their personal playlist. Like that's where we're headed.
Well, the thing is, like, right now it's kind of the Wild West because there isn't any regulation. And if it does get regulated, whatever time period between, you know, a year or two ago and when that happens is just going to be what it is now, where there's legit like fucking Disney shows with AI like title cards and shit, and there's like movies that are using it and all this stuff. Like people are just using it and seeing what they can get away with, like testing the waters. So this like time period is going to be like known as, even if it does get regulated down the line, is going to be known as like this. Oh, that was when everybody was doing AI shit, but that probably won't even happen.
Do you think, like, let's say it does get regulated out, the time in between that's been happening is filling the internet with so much stuff that like people can't tell what's real and what's AI.
This is what I've been saying. This is what
like a lot of people can't. And so there's like, I'm sure you guys have seen like the viral posts where it's like AI is pulling like shit post information from Reddit.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
presenting it as actual search results to people, like giving them like, telling them to put glue on a pizza and stuff.
Yeah.
Because AI can't tell the difference.
It's the
Like,
Patriots.
It kind of
They told us they were going to do this in 2002. They
it's-
literally said.
it's very true.
Yeah.
They said this is exactly they're going to flood the market with a bunch of incorrect information.
Yeah.
You won't be able to sift through it. We knew.
It's
The
impo-
Lolly
it's not-
Lulelo told us they were going to do this.
I think it's completely impossible at this point for anyone, let's say like 5 years from now, to look back at this point in history and decipher truth from reality at all. And not to say that it hasn't all, like, anytime you look back at history, I get it. You're getting like one perspective, the perspective of the author.
Yeah.
It's always subjective, but it was often based on peer review and there was different like checks and balances in place. Not that it was ever perfect, but now it's like there's zero boundary between established truth and AI nonsense. And the law, like every day that that this goes on, there's like, it's like the entire internet gets like copied over twice.
Yeah.
Just like with like more AI shit.
Well, that's the thing I've been talking about is like it's now a skill that you need to develop. And I was talking to some friends about this because it used to be kind of a skill as to whether you could tell if something was photoshopped or not. And
Yeah, I could tell by the pixels.
yeah,
This is shop.
that was like kind of a thing. But now it's like what are you laughing at?
It's an old.
I'm laughing at what Evan just said.
Oh, okay, yeah. But now it's like you have to. It's the same sort of skill, but it no longer takes somebody like some time in a program to make something and then put it out there. It's that like somebody can input one thing and 10,000 of those can be created and put out into the internet, and it's so difficult to discern. The skill has gotten a lot harder to pull off, and there's
It's going
a
to
lot
get harder
more of
every
it.
day because the AI is working against you.
You know,
but it's
this
it's like exponential how fast it's happening and how much of it there is and how good you have to be. Like every factor of it is so.
We've already lost. Like what you're
Well-
saying is like you're looking at the rear view mirror already with what you're saying, in my opinion.
Well,
this
no,
is
no,
one
no.
specific.
I
Go ahead.
I agree with you, but that doesn't change the fact that it's like it's still going on. You know what I mean?
And we have not even understood what the peak may be.
Yeah.
Right.
It's this may go so fucking deep. And, I've seen AI video, like the latest. I can't remember what the big like AI video thing people are using, but you know how like
Luna?
AI videos, like backgrounds and objects were wavy.
Yeah.
That's not a thing anymore. As of like
The fingers aren't either.
like 14 days ago,
Yeah.
there was like an update where I was watching all these videos people were making, and like the image stabilization in general has been locked down almost perfectly at this point, where it's like, especially if you're emulating like video, trying to look like maybe like an older archival clip from like a CRT or a VHS source or something. You could not tell the difference anymore.
Yeah.
If you're doing full 4K 60 FPS, like you can kind of tell it's AI. But if you just degrade the file even slightly, it rounds off the edges to the point that like it's over. It's totally over.
And that happened.
All like that, like the AI video being Uncanny Valley is like in the past now.
That happened in like because that program got released to the public like a month or two ago, I think. That was like when everybody got access to it and people were using it. And I tried it out a few times and I was like, oh, this fucking sucks. This is terrible. I was trying to do like a stupid Twitter bit and it was just bad. And yeah, like the shit I've seen even just in the past few days is miles better. Miles and miles better. It's no longer like shit doesn't immediately break down like when it does the action anymore that it's trying to do. It sort of like holds on a little bit longer and then starts to break down, but it's miles better in a month. Like, what is it going to look like in a year?
It's so gross.
Yeah, it's crazy. And you're right. There is so much shit. I mean, I can't go on. I use YouTube Shorts. I don't know why I started using YouTube Shorts. It's terrible. Don't do it. But
Because you want to see a bunch of. Never. I'm gonna stop.
dude, it's like I don't even know. I don't like anything I watch on there. I don't know why I'm watching it. It's all like alpha male content and like Joe Rogan like clips and like
I
MMA
love that stuff though.
and like I don't know. It's like I don't even like anything I watch, but I scroll through it when I'm bored, and like literally
Thirst traps.
50% of it thirst traps.
It's all camel toe videos.
It's like women working out in the gym. No, it's 50% of it is the shit you're talking about, where it's Elon Musk and Joe Rogan talking, and Elon Musk is like, there's like a new product out now that they made where it's like it like totally fixes your water supply, and he's like, oh yeah, I heard of that, it's called this, and you can get it at this link, and then the link's in the description, and I'm like, what the fuck am I watching?
It's so crazy that that's even allowed. It's like,
yeah,
It's not allowed.
It's just
it's just not enforced.
It's
it's not allowed, but it's not enforced.
It's crazy because, like, I don't know, like, if you guys experience this, I feel like I'm getting too deep, but just try to roll with me for 1 second. Everybody, and I've already said we're in like a post-truth kind of society, but I really believe that because I used to do a weekly like local news podcast.
oh okay,
Or it was like a live show, I guess, sort of a podcast, but it was like this, and we would discuss local news. And over the pandemic, things got so volatile. We were just saying like this happened would like cause a fight. People would like have like, I think it happened this way. Well, I think it happened this way. It's like, well, we know how it happened. We saw it. Like, there's empirical proof that this is how it happened, but people still had to argue over their version of reality. And like, that's been happening for like the last 4 or 5 years. But now, not only have like we moved past like having a collective like truth or shared reality, now it's like people have the keys to now create media that can create a convincing false reality for people. And it's and we're fully immersed in it because that's how we receive all of our news and information.
yeah.
So we've totally gone fully into like the fucking Matrix. I don't know how to say it. It's so crazy.
Yeah, because
we're mentally primed, and now the hardware is there to catch us up.
I see you're saying that it went from, like, if I have you correctly, you're saying it went from feeling like people were being willfully ignorant to now like they don't have the capacity to.
You don't have a choice anymore. Whatever you see, it might just be it might just be the fake reality being fed to you, and you can't even know the difference.
It's pretty wild.
And you're already like willing to never have a shared reality with anyone around you. Like so many people have been primed to like feel like, oh, this is the reality I choose.
Yeah.
Something of a conspiracy theory I have about like what you're talking about is almost like history always repeats itself. This is something that we know to be for sure. And if you observe a lot of human history, throughout most of it, the average person could not read. They required people to learn to be scholars, to read it, interpret it, and then relay it to the masses. What we're seeing here is like almost like a reintegration of this idea, because people might be able to read and all of this, but people aren't going to be able to differentiate in information and misinformation or disinformation, right? We've heard these words being thrown around. So what we're going to have is, I think we just implemented this in the United States 3 years ago. I forget what it's called. It's like the something of information or whatever. What we're going to start seeing more and more is people being, told we're going to require interpreters, most likely government mandated interpreters, saying nothing you see is real unless you hear it from an authoritative interpretive source. So like with Catholicism, you couldn't read the Bible on your own. You needed a priest to read it and interpret it. With ancient history, you needed a scholar. We're seeing that again, I think, because history is going to repeat itself back to that, where the masses will just eventually they'll all just accept, okay, I don't know anymore. I don't
That's a
know.
great
I don't
point.
want to know.
Yeah, totally. You're so spot on in my opinion.
Well, I mean,
That-
it's us. We're the interpreters. TGG.
Yeah.
I'm hard.
Yeah, reality interpreters. It's going to be called something way stupider, way more like dystopian.
It's gonna
like,
be the Oracle.
It's going to be like
The Oracle
information. For a while they were called fact checkers. It's going to be like information validators or some shit like that. But yeah, that's where we're headed.
God
For
damn,
sure.
It's so true. You're so spot on.
Yeah.
And I don't. I sound like I'm kind of complaining about this or like being like, oh, this is. I love it. I go, bring it on.
Yeah.
Accelerate.
I just want people to know where I stand. I don't want to be. I see some people in the chat even like kind of sharing some opinions. I just want you to know, bring it on. Yes, accelerate. My foot is on the gas. Here we go.
Driving
Wikifeet.com.
towards the
On the
cliff.
gas.
Oh, there you go. Feet reveal. That's big for the
People are going to
show.
be clipping
Let
that.
me think less.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of nice because now you don't have
Period.
to. You can just assume that everything's fake. Everything's fake.
People think-
I don't
okay.
have to take a stance on this.
That's what
Here's
I do.
another thing:
Everything's
is
fake.
people think they don't want that, but they do. And I can prove to you that they do if you just think about the fact that for the last 10 years, everyone who was either on the left or the right got angry at the people who didn't agree with them and said they shouldn't be allowed to talk.
Yeah.
They want this. They want people. They want people to not disagree with them. And if we have an authoritative interpreter who decides what is truth, everyone will just be like, "Oh, good. Okay, I don't have to argue with my uncle."
Well,
Oh yeah,
we
yeah, you're spot on, man. In my opinion,
we said this.
it's just my opinion, just my 2 cents.
We said
Just my
this
opinion.
some weeks ago, but everything on the internet that you see is AI, except for us.
Yeah.
And the only way to prove that you're not AI
Is to be a guest.
is to be a guest on this show. And Hidden Machine, you've proven yourself. You're not AI.
I'm grateful for the opportunity. I've been in the underground network for a while, trying to get this kind of truth structure established here, and I'm glad to be a part of the network.
Yeah, you heard it here. We are the reality interpreters, and we can validate Hidden Machine as a player character.
Reality
you.
Interpreters would have been a better name for the podcast.
Yeah.
It's not
Maybe-
too late.
That's true. We could change. We change the name.
The
That'd be
plus
pretty
is
good.
already gone from the logo.
No, there was never a plus
was
on
never
the
there.
logo.
Oh.
It was just in the
Is
title.
it still called TGG Plus?
Yeah, it's in the title.
I mean,
It's in
That
the
was
title.
Then
always
none
just-
of it matters.
We
we
TGG
came up with the plus as a gag and then just ran with it.
I think we came
I
up with it like
understand.
before we streamed the first episode. Like as we
Yeah.
were talking, we were like, "Yeah, let's do this." No, it doesn't
Yeah.
matter. It's all bullshit.
And that's
But I'm having fun playing video games in the meantime.
Yeah,
that's I see somebody talking about like being depressed in the chat, but honestly, this has always been the case when it comes to like real world politics. Even if AI wasn't a factor, if the more you like dance with politics, the more it's like dancing with like the devil. You will be better off probably lifting weights, going on runs, playing video games, and like socializing with people that you like. It's
Well, this is
you're not the chosen one.
This is
It's
None of us
also-
are the chosen one.
It's kind of like it's not that different than for like anyone who's younger than me, because I'm 74 right now, but
Okay, yeah.
almost 75.
almost. But a lot, like in the 90s up to the early 2000s, basically like pre 9/11, and then post 9/11, and as the internet came up, it was different, but it was a very homogenous media kind of interpretation across the entire country. People were kind of getting the same messages, and this idea of people kind of cracking into the truth or cracking into like a deeper understanding of the way things work around them, it's only been so widespread because of the internet.
Yeah.
And it, not to say that those kind of outsider beliefs weren't around, but they weren't as easily accessible. You had to really go out of your way. And now it's like every internet user is seeing their own feed. And you like, there's so much stuff that's like, how does this have 5 billion followers? I've never heard of it.
Yes.
It's like, you know,
Yeah.
but that didn't used to happen. It used to be, there was one show that everyone watched. And it was
Yeah.
easier to kind of have a clampdown on people. So it's like, of course, it would make sense that as the industry changes and media changes and the relationship of the individual to media changes, that eventually it'd come back around to, hey, we got to put the fucking clamp down on this.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, just,
And
you know,
the point-
if they
stay woke, brothers.
does
that's all you
that
can
does
do.
that violate our count? Or
I think that we might have to reset.
well, no, because we
think
said
this
the
whole
word like
pod-
16 times.
I
Last
think this
week.
whole podcast has been a reset, to be honest. We'll have to reset.
Whatever.
We've had
Yeah,
a te-
we'll just
we've had
reset.
a couple weeks ago we went on a 10-week no politics policy.
Yeah.
And,
Oh, I
think
don't
we
mean
fucked it up.
politics. I mean, that's all fake anyway.
That's true. Well,
I just mean stay alert.
to go back to your thing that you that you like Evan was saying before, and because you guys brought up MGS2 and how whatever it's the Patriots or whatever, but you know I made this point in my video
Yeah, baby.
about Metal Gear Solid 2 that because I think that thing is like misinterpreted a lot. I think that codec call is like kind of misinterpreted, or the whole point of the game is misinterpreted. Because the game, I think people misinterpret the game as a doomer game, as saying like we're all fucked and everything's fucked, and Kojima predicted the future and everything's terrible. And I don't think that's the case, because the scene right after, you know, Snake talks to Raiden and he says like, you know, you have to make a new name. You can give things to future generations. That's what's important. For like, forget about all this shit. Focus on that. And I think that's good. I think that's good modern day thing to look at. And I think it's honestly kind of a reflection of our state, that we do interpret the game that way as like a doomer thing, and not the original interpretation, which was, you know, I'm trying to pass the Metal Gear series on. That's my focus. And like this whole, even though like all this shit's going on around me, I'm still focusing on that at the end of the day. I think it like reflects the state of everything, that's how that game is viewed, when that wasn't really the point.
That's a good point. I always think, I mean, this is just my personal interpretation, but
I'm trying
Kojima's
to
works as
destroy
being
some
like,
black pills here.
Kojima's very upfront about the way things really work, but his stories are about people persevering through that.
Mm-hmm. It's a very like
so it's
Japanese
kind of like you know, like
perspective.
as much as like it might be like, oh, things are fucked, you can adapt.
Yeah.
And it's just, you know, it's not easy to, and it never has been.
Yeah.
But you know, it's just like that's the struggle is the adaptation or adaptation to these changes and these, you know, these power structures. But that's how like all of his stories kind of focus on people who are kind of like accepting these insurmountable odds and navigating through those systems.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even through Death Stranding.
Yeah. Yeah, there's always some sort of silver lining, you know. It's not which
It's like
is
a life goes on kind of thing.
yeah, which is why I've always, I don't know, that interpretation has always been so weird, cuz that fucking call gets posted everywhere and people post screenshots from it and stuff. And they're like, "Look, he told the truth. He predicted what was coming." And it's like, that's not really what he was trying to do there, but sure, go ahead.
I actually think part of that comes from how people interact with media a lot of times, which is what tends to happen is like that end scene, people don't see that as real. And what I mean by that is people will see that and be like, okay, well, that's just the video game part of it. That would never happen in real life. This happens in movies too. Like the optimistic, like heroes winning, people are like, oh, well, that's not real. that part's fantasy land. But the dark, like dystopian, like depressing stuff, they're like, okay, I see resemblances of this in real life. So it's not even that
Totally.
they're misinterpreting it, it's that they just don't recognize or accept the optimistic bit as being something that they can apply to their life.
People do
but
that
they
in their own lives all the time with like
Yeah.
they go, oh, I focus on my insecurities, my negative emotions.
Mhm.
And it's like, have you ever loved yourself? Have you ever been pumped on yourself?
That's true.
Dude,
Well,
I
like why don't you hang on to that? Like you can choose to accept the other thing as well.
Yeah.
I remember it was like a life-changing event for me a few years ago, like probably like 5 or 6 years ago at this point, where I started like turning how I interpreted media. And I was like, okay, from now on, I really only want to like watch or listen to or play something that like motivates me or inspires me or makes me like excited to go to the gym and lift weights or something like that, you know? And then I started seeing it everywhere. Every time I watch something now, I'm like, oh, wow, this is actually really like pumping me up. Whereas for a lot of my life, I'd watch and be like, that was a dopamine hit, and I'd walk away.
Mm.
It's you people just but the depressing parts of it don't require a conscious interaction. You just immediately see it. But the positive parts of it actually kind of require a conscious like interpretation from you.
Yeah. I think there's a little bit of Western. I think it's also just a little bit of a Western interpretation too, because the
Yeah, for sure.
Western media is way more. I don't even want to say it is more nihilistic.
Look at The Boys. The Boys is one of the most popular things on TV right now, and it is the most like I don't even know what you'd call it. Like that show, everything is awful, pretty much. Like
yeah,
that's
kind of how
Western media.
yeah,
that's
that's how a lot of Western media tends to be. There's not a
Yeah.
lot of like.
Before that, it was Game of Thrones.
Like if you think of wholesome media now, or like
Homeward Bound.
yes, Homeward Bound. That's what I was thinking of. I was thinking more like if you think of modern like wholesome media or stuff with like silver linings, like that messaging that we were talking about with like Kojima. It's a lot of like more Eastern stuff. And I'm not saying it's good or bad that Western media is more like that. I think there's room for those stories.
Sure.
But yeah, I think it's just I think we tend to. It was the obsession a few years ago with everything being dark and gritty, you know.
But now it's just dark and gritty and also self-aware.
I don't want to like get to, whatever, but like my personal belief is that a lot of that dark and gloomy stuff is intentionally pumped to us more than other things are.
Zero.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's like I think that it's important that people don't understand their own power and autonomy.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. No, I get what you're saying. I think
and anytime like in American culture where a society has risen up against federal government or anything, like any authority figure that they didn't agree with, and go, hey, we want to be self-sufficient, we want to do our own thing, like they are almost always murdered.
Yeah.
It's like so it doesn't make sense to like have mainstream media have revolutionary messages or messages of radical self-empowerment, because as soon as the individual understands their own self-worth and really values that in a certain way, they don't jibe as much with a lot of what is put upon them in society.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the bigger structures around us are built around, kind of like decimating our will and decimating our autonomy and strength, mentally or physically or whatever.
Yeah.
For the reason
I think
that
that's right.
if you had a bunch of pissed off idiots who can overpower you, it'd be a mess. Like I kind of understand both sides of it, but I go, I'd rather be aware if I can.
It's a good point.
Yeah.
It's a very good
Yeah.
point. That's why a lot of people are watching anime these days. I think a lot of people. I'm not like the biggest anime guy in the world, but I will tell you, every time I watch, like I've been watching some My Hero Academia with my girlfriend. I mean, say what you will about that show and its fan base, but like it's very optimistic. It's very positive and it's very refreshing
It's
to
pretty
see
fun.
something that's just
It's all right.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
just it's very like positive and emotionally charged. It's very refreshing to watch something like that. And I think that's a big reason a lot of people are turning to anime, because they want just some unashamed, non-self-aware, authentic, optimistic media.
Yeah. There's a vacuum for that
Totally.
in the West, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Because even like superhero shit, which was traditionally more like that, is less like that now.
Yeah, it's been on like a steady downgrade since the late 80s where it's like they can't have morals, basically.
Yeah. Everybody's an anti-hero in the
And
West.
I peaked with the Raimi Spider-Man movies.
I love those.
Yeah.
I love them too.
They're
I
great.
They're
unironically
so
love
fucking
them.
fun.
I
like the third one.
I watched the first one.
I do too.
The third one's fun. I watched the first one and the second one though pretty recently, and fuck those movies.
Specifically
are
the
good.
second one, dude. The second one is just probably one of the best comic book movies ever made.
Yeah,
They're so
for
much
sure.
better to me in contrast when I watched Madam Web and then I watched Spider-Man. I was like, oh wow, they really have checked out on these movies.
Oh yeah, yeah. Just
I've heard
know-
even the new Wolverine Deadpool movie, like they're not really liking it.
Is it
That's what
out?
I've heard.
I gotta go see that, man.
I
I gotta go see.
I
I
don't-
gotta get
yeah.
my butt into the theater.
I'm not gonna see it. I didn't like
Oh,
the
it came
first
out
two.
today. Came out today.
Yeah.
I gotta. I'll see that this week, and I'll report on it next week. We'll see.
Yeah, I've heard people aren't like vibing with it as much.
It's probably
as-
fucking terrible. It's probably garbage.
I bet, man.
Um,
How far can you take that joke?
I've heard this movie takes it far. I'm not gonna spoil anything, but I've heard this movie.
do you? How do you?
it
How do you
jumps the
feel
shark.
about Deadpool? Because we're Deadpool haters.
Yeah.
I think it fucking sucks.
Yeah. Thank you.
The movies suck. It's just like it's basically if some exec was like, how do we make memes into a movie?
Yes.
I think between the first two, all of the runtime of the first two movies, there's like 3 minutes of good jokes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I hear that there's like a PS3 game or something though. I heard was
Yeah, I
pretty
played
fun.
it,
Yeah.
I never played it.
but it has the same
Deadpool,
problem.
I
Just
fucked 'em.
it has the same problem, just from a different perspective. It's still just a meme fest, but it's just like early 2000s
Yeah.
memes
It's
instead.
it's probably aged a little bit
It's
better.
like Portal 2.
Yeah. It
is.
That game has probably aged a little bit better though, because it feels a little less. The problem with that stuff is it feels so on the nose and like so pandering that it just it doesn't feel. It's the opposite of cool in like every way possible. So I think like having like those references be aged a little bit does help in the long run, because it doesn't feel as pandering. But like when
Totally. Yeah. The impact is a little lessened.
I would be surprised if there wasn't like a fucking Hawk Tuah meme in that fucking movie.
I think it was done already.
They
when
would.
that-
I bet you they would spend $100,000 to
Totally.
go reshoot a scene and put it in there.
This is also kind of crazy. Is that meme is so big? I never caught the original footage. I still don't. I
Really?
understand
That's what
through
a lot
context
of
what
people-
it is, but I saw all of the runoff.
Mm-hmm.
I never saw the video where it's like in the past, a viral video, I'd see the clip, I'd see the original clip, and then later I'd see the memes.
It's so
With this,
fast.
it was
now.
immediately the memes overshadowed the original clip so fast. I go, damn, like culture's moving so fast that I don't even. I had to like piece together the context that it's a white trash girl that likes to spit on peepees.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It was.
I
It
mean-
was literally like.
I mean, that's
12
funny, I
hours.
guess.
I don't
Yeah.
think people understand. I have my own little theory as to why that blew up so much. I don't think people understand why.
We're horny.
No, I don't think it has
Yeah.
anything to do with sex. I don't think that is at all why it blew up. I think it's because it was a little joke that was very positive between the two sexes, and there is so much like garbage media drenched in like the two like sexes trying to make each other look bad. I mean, you've got like the Whatever podcast
Yeah.
on one end, you've got the other stuff where it's just aimed at trying to like make one or the other sex look bad. Like the Whatever podcast is always trying to make women look bad, and then like you had the the would you choose a bear or a man in the woods thing. There's so much of that I feel like that little clip of just a woman being like, yeah, I like men, made both sexes both be like, this is funny, it's wholesome, it's relatable, everybody kind of gets it. That's my theory on it.
I think you're on the right track, but I think it's even more like specialized. I think it's because of those fucking man on the street interviews, and those are usually so fucking gross and weird.
Yeah, they're fucking awful,
like nasty. That like I think maybe seeing something that wasn't super gross, and also every time you see like a viral clip from those man on the street things, it's always putting somebody in a bad situation and then seeing them fail and then like making fun of them for it. It's always
normally
normally
it's targeted at a specific sex.
Yeah, it's usually
Totally.
it's usually women. Women suck.
Can anybody in the chat tell me, you play the can you emulate Deadpool?
I'm sure it goes on Xenia.
It was PS3.
PS3 emulation is so iffy.
It was on the Xbox, wasn't it?
It's yeah.
I thought it was a PS3 exclusive.
No, it was on the Xbox. Hang on, let me fact check myself.
It is really iffy. It's hard to get some stuff to run. There's like games that run
it's on the
really
360.
well, and then there's games that run like
cool.
shit.
It took me like 2 days to get. I'm emulating Deadly Premonition on PS3 because it's the most reliable build.
That was my favorite way to do it.
But I had to go through several different builds of the emulator to find one that would work with the ROM.
You have to use a specific, like a specific.
But
build.
the specific build that used to work for a lot of people doesn't work for me on Windows 11. So I had to find another specific build.
Yeah, that honestly that happens a lot with RS or RSPC3 or whatever it is specifically is build you have to use a specific build to get rid of some sort of issue, like a past build.
I've
It doesn't
noticed that
work
we're trying
with
to
new
play
builds.
Metal Gear Solid 5,
Four.
4.
Yeah,
4.
4 does that too. There's a lot of games. For some reason, like every time they update it, it breaks games in the past.
Iffy.
And because
PS3
MGS4
was a very convoluted system.
Yeah,
Totally.
But MGS4 used to work really
sick
well.
exclusives that are like stuck on that hardware.
It was a little bit of a situation for me to get Killzone 2 and 3 running on it, but I mean they do run. They run really. Killzone 3 runs a lot better than 2. But they both run.
You got to get one. I have one sitting right here. You got
a
PS3?
Yeah. Just
I
get
have a
one.
PS4.
You'll never regret it. What I do, okay, this is the new thing that I do too, is I go on eBay and they have those fucking, those like bulk, you can buy whatever PS3 game you want or whatever. I go through that list on like a couple of them, and they usually have like buy 2 get 1 free deals, and I'll just buy 3 random games I've never heard of, and then they show up, and then I just like play them for fun, and they're usually one of the 3 is like pretty fucking good.
This is the only physical game I own anymore.
Is it really? I have that too. I literally have that right here.
What is that? I can't see it.
It's Mario Brothers Duck Hunt.
Oh, what the hell?
I literally also have that.
Oh, that's not true. I also just bought this.
That's weird. I just found that in my closet like 2 days ago.
I think this is so funny. You can get these on Amazon wicked cheap right now.
What is it?
Oh, wow. That's cool.
This is Alan Wake. I'm trying to get to the camera. It's Alan Wake and Alan Wake's American Nightmare. Physical copy.
That's really cool.
PC.
For PC.
That is awesome.
Oh, interesting.
It's the Alan Wake bundle from ValueSoft.
What the fuck?
Yeah, there's some
it's like $10 on Amazon.
That's so cool.
Damn.
There's a couple games I want to start getting. I don't really have any. The only physical games I have are the Silent Hill PS2 games. I have.
Sick.
I have.
Art.
Those are good ones.
I have I have the English and the Japanese of 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then I have the
Holy
English
shit.
on Shattered Memories.
The Japanese art is so cool on those.
But what I really want to start doing is when I do my Quake series, I want to get the boxed PC copies of the Quake games is what I want. I want to own those. They're probably mad expensive though.
Speaking of that, do you
They
guys
are.
have like a piece of physical media that is like your thing that you want but you don't want to spend that much money on? Or like one that you can't find?
I really want a boxed Max Payne for PC.
That's a good one.
And I cannot find the big box Max Payne. I have I I lied. That's not this. So this is most recent, but I also have physical copies of Alan Wake, Quantum Break, Control, and Max Payne 1 and 2. But I don't have most they're very mishmash. Like I have a sealed Quantum Break, I have a loose Max Payne, I have a Max Payne PC without the big box. It's like a later like budget repress of it. I want the fucking official big box Max Payne 1 or Max Payne 2. They're both really sick big boxes. Can't find them for a price I would feel okay paying.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it's especially specifically games. It's so hard. They're so expensive. Like you were talking about Silent Hill. Silent Hill's one of the most notorious ones.
There's a crate actually. I don't know if you can see it in camera. There's a crate back there that has like over $1,000 worth of Silent Hill stuff.
Jesus.
Damn.
Like a sealed Robbie the Rabbit, the games themselves, some other merchandise. Like it's a lot. And then I own the skateboards. Obviously, they're still in the box too. This is a Silent Hill hat. This is a shirt. I didn't plan that. I just like how I look in the shirt.
What's the hat?
It's Halo of the Sun. I don't. You can't see it.
Oh,
it's
sick. All right, I can kind of see on the edge there.
Yeah.
Can't see it.
Yeah, it's too black. I'll send you a picture of it later.
I've always wanted. There was some really fucking. It's not a game, but there was some really sick posters made for the Japanese release of Metal Gear Solid 4. They had really, really cool. I mean, if you look, there's actually the Legacy Edition for the PS3 has a little mini art book that comes with it, and it shows every like poster in English and Japanese that was released for each of the games and some other promotional material and stuff.
It's so sick.
But a lot of the Japanese posters for the Metal Gear Solid series were really fucking cool. Great design, just like really good and like just loud enough graphic design that they were really cool, but they're just so damn hard to find. Also, the drinks that they made for, I think it was Peace Walker, were pretty cool too. I want those, but those are
those are
really
sick.
Yeah.
This is like almost unrelated. I wish I could show it right now, but I just framed up a poster I had since I was a child that I took from Nintendo Power of Primal Rage.
Oh,
and
shit.
It's just one of the monkeys like holding up, like he's just like doing his like victory pose. There's like bloody bones all around him.
Damn.
And it's like, it's such a sick painting. And I also found my Mario RPG poster as well. They're like, and they're weird dimensions.
I remember that one actually.
They're like 3 magazine pages tall.
Mm-hmm. My dad, I didn't.
Sick.
Obviously, I wasn't like
the Nintendo Power. I mean, is sick.
Yeah. The Nintendo Powers were really cool. My dad had a shit ton of them when I was a kid, so I would read them all the time, and they were for games I'd like never play. Like I would always read the the fucking Star Wars. There was like one with the Star Wars like area map that showed you how to get all the collectibles and stuff.
Yeah, for like the Super Nintendo games.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would like look at that.
I would read that
it.
shit for games I never played all the time. Be like, all right, yeah, I know these levels.
Yeah, yeah. And then I've literally never played that game. The Cool Spot game, I played.
Yeah.
I looked at that one a lot too.
Yes.
Shit like that. Those were so cool to have. And then like obviously like Game Informer I read like to find information out. But yeah, Nintendo Power was fucking sick.
Man, I gotta see these Metal Gear Solid posters. Like Metal Gear Solid, I haven't played all of the games. I haven't been watching your videos. So I gotta play these games.
Yeah.
I don't want to see your shit until I
experience
have my own. Because I played through Metal Gear. I played through Metal Gear Solid 2 and Metal Gear Solid 4 and most of 5.
Oh shit.
Which is like very spotty.
Yeah.
I played through like half of 3 as well. I gotta just like go through all of them in one run.
3's the shortest one.
What's that?
3 is.
I think
quick.
3's the shortest one.
3's
oh
real
really?
Quick. This one's particularly cool.
Damn.
Yeah, that's a classic.
Those are so sick.
Dude, they're awesome. They did great promotional stuff for MGS4.
All their art, like whenever I see any promo art for the Metal Gear Solid games, I'm always blown away.
Yoji Shinkawa, sick.
Yeah,
Just like
super good.
I love when someone's willing to go like, hey, let's go conceptual. You know?
Yeah, you were sort of talking about this before with the budget stuff. Indie games having a budget and having to like stretch it. And I sincerely think that the only way we're going to get back to any sort of like mainstream creativity is if games don't get as much budget anymore. Because I think if you look back at the history of like the biggest really cool successes and features in games, they always came from some sort of getting around technical limitations that they had at the time. It was a creative way to escape the technical limitations or the budgetary limitations that they had.
When technical limitations aren't really a thing anymore, budgetary limitations have to replace that.
Yeah, 100%. That's the new.
Like the tech is there. Like what was that? What's that? Like it's like Shining Blade or something. It's not Stellar Blade, but it was like the game that came out before. It's like an action RPG, but the guy did all of his motion capture on his iPhone by himself.
Oh shit! I haven't heard about this. I don't think.
It was like a kind of a big indie title that got like a bigger expanse.
Mm-hmm.
It's killing me that I can't remember the name of it. But like, you know, he had like AAA looking motion capture that he did through a fucking iPhone app.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
The tech is not a barrier.
No, not at all. It has to just be access to. I mean, you have full games that are amazing and fantastic that are made by one person in a few years that look like, you know, you can't tell, you know. The tech isn't there. It's the ability is all with the people. It's just, I don't know. Having
Like you
that
have like a big
limitation-
enough team on like a corporate level, and then maybe they got like a smaller budget. You got like, you know, 40, 50 people working on like a really passionate project.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's where you're going to see like a game that's like unprecedented.
Yes. Yeah, it has to be there because it's just not when you have AAA budgets now, it just means the same exact thing for almost everybody.
And there's too many assholes in the way saying how the money should be spent, and they just don't know what's up.
Yeah, for sure.
And I mean, I've talked to so many people, like, I know it's always been reported on when people talk about games and kind of like postmortems or whatever. But just like in any interview I've done or talking to anyone in the games industry, there's always these like top-down figures that just come in with the dumbest fucking ideas. And it's crazy that that's been a thing since the 70s.
Yeah.
Like that's never gone away. Just investors and other people coming in being like, this is what you should do.
Mm-hmm. Well, it happens in every industry.
It does.
You know.
You'd think it would be like a little more niche with games because it's kind of like like with movies it makes sense because people go, I watch movies, I know what I like.
Mm-hmm.
But like a lot of the people who make decisions on games don't even play games.
Yeah, well now it's like my son plays Fortnite. I know what that is. You know, that's the new
My
watch
son
movies.
did the GTA 6 leak.
Damn. I gotta piss. You guys get the
That's the
comments.
second piss of the night. You're on piss watch now.
Dude, I gotta drink like a gallon a day or something.
Get those
Wow,
microplastics.
He's drinking a gallon of straight creatine.
Looks like straight microplastics.
It is.
It really is creatine. He just showed the bottle.
So, how's your relationship with music lately?
I don't know. Just edgy deathcore music. It's nothing.
Are you playing anything lately, or like recording anything?
Yeah. I just finished tracking. I just sent the stems for a new original to my co-writer / producer. We're 50-50 on it. I tend to write a lot of it, and then he writes some of it and does production on it. So
Does
that's
he play
cool.
instruments too?
Oh yeah, it's funny. He's a better guitar player than me, but I always write the guitar for our collaborations. I
Right.
don't. That's just the way it ends up. He likes it. He's really good at guitar, but I think I'm better at writing simple riffs. Does that make sense at all?
Totally, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Writing and technical skill are definitely two different spaces.
Yeah. Well, he's definitely a better player than I am, but that's just how we do it. So I sent over the stems to him. He's working on them, and then I have a different friend who wanted to do a cover of 3-0 by Slipknot, and all I contributed to that is the vocals. So he's doing everything else, and then he's producing it, and I don't know when that's gonna release, but I like to describe the music that I release as like Shadow the Hedgehog metal. It's like
how can I hear it?
It's on Spotify. Well, it was on Spotify,
What,
but then
what is it under?
my name, Evan Prince.
Oh, okay. I wasn't looking under that.
What were you looking under?
I went to your page
Shithead.
and tried to like quickly find something I couldn't. I was like, I'll ask him next time I talk to him.
Yeah, it's just Evan. It's just silly, like apocalypse metal. We just write music about like fictional dystopian apocalypses and stuff normally.
That's
Or
good.
when it's not that, it's something else. Like I have a song out called Quake, which is about Quake. That's it. It's just a lot of. I just try to write.
Quake. That's how it goes. Gets stuck in my head
Yeah.
all the time.
I just I try to write the edgiest like deathy gym like meathead music I can think of. We got
Cool.
yeah, so the 3-0 song, the cover, I don't know when he's gonna finish production on that, but when he does, that'll go up. And then I think the original, we're calling it Royal Blood, should be out, I don't know, a month and a half.
Is that about the band? The two-piece band?
I don't know what you're talking about.
You've never heard of Royal Blood?
No.
It's a guy. It's one guy and a drummer. The main guy that sings plays. I think he plays a bass, but it's like he puts all these effects on it, so it sounds like a guitar, not a bass. They're pretty cool.
No, I'm not familiar. No, Royal Blood is a fictional, like, modern retelling of a historic battle between Alfred the Great's father and one of the earlier Viking invasions of England at the time. They
Damn.
call it the battle. Yeah, they call it the Battle of Aclea, and it's known as one of the greatest slaughters of like pagan Vikings in recorded history, apparently.
Damn.
Yeah, it's like a fictional retelling of that if it happened in modern day. So it's like that, but like with like guns and stuff.
With Trump.
Yeah. What?
Come on.
You said
Well, that's
modern
sick. I look
day.
forward to hearing it.
No,
I'm in a big music mode lately. I just got I got an E drum or V drum kit,
Ooh, those are fun.
and I have a drum kit, but it's always broken down because I gig every week, and I leave my drums in the car most of the time, and it's just like such a bitch to like set them up and take them down. And the times I have to play drums are usually the same times I'm gigging because I'm working full time throughout the week. Not to give you a fucking sob story, but having the V drum kit to set up, I go, oh my god, music is so much fun. All I want to do is play music.
Yeah, no, not me. I used to play a lot of live shows back in the day when I was in like a band. I hated it. I am not a live performance artist. I hate that part of it.
I want to stop doing
like
live
writing it.
performances. This is my last summer of gigging, I think.
Yeah,
'Cause
I
I
hate
love
live
just playing
performances.
music in my bedroom. I'm so sick of doing shows. I'm so fucking sick of it.
You don't like the what don't you like about it?
It's gross. It's gross. It's nasty. It's hard. It's time consuming. It costs you more money than you'll make. It's a net negative in every way, and it's not even really that fun.
I've negotiated the money to the point where like I'm making pretty good money on gigs, which was like I thought maybe okay, because sometimes I pay more to get to the gig than I actually made at the on the door or whatever.
Exactly.
The bands I've been in lately, we're making pretty fucking good money, and it feels great. And I go, oh, the money wasn't the issue. I go, it's everything else. I go, damn. Even if I'm getting a few $100 or whatever, this sucks. I go, I'd rather just go to my job.
Yeah, dude. And like, because I was in like a metalcore band for a while, and I would go and we'd play shows. It's just bars are really gross. They're very like
if you're playing metal, it's so hard to make money. It fucking sucks. You just want to not. I don't care. It's like I'm not trying to make a huge profit. I want to just not lose money doing this.
We would spend more money getting to a show than we would make back from like the door.
So bullshit.
Yeah, we wouldn't. We might make enough to cover the cost of our food after the show. Maybe.
To try to bring this back around, I recently played a roguelite deck builder about being in a DIY band, trying to like make it through a tour where you're like in these situations.
What is it called? That sounds
I wish I
awesome.
remembered.
Fuck you.
I can't remember the name of the. It's something. It's so generic,
You
and it wasn't that good.
Oh damn, that sucks. Because
But I'm
that
just trying to
sounds
bring
like
it back around.
that sounds like a cool idea. I think I remember.
It's a cool idea.
I remember last time we had you on. You said you played Balatro quite a bit.
I play it every day. I've kept it on my Steam Deck. I've played almost nothing else on my Steam Deck since I got a Steam Deck.
Last time we talked about it, I had played it for maybe like 3 or 4 hours. I was just getting into it, and then I quit playing it for like it didn't fully grab me. It grabbed me a little bit, and then I was like, I gotta do other shit. And
How were you playing it on your PC?
yeah, but
Were you playing it with the mouse?
yeah,
Okay, I'm just curious.
but
'Cause I can't believe how tight it is on controller. That's why.
oh okay, I'll have to try that. But the past like week or two, I have fucking it's fully grabbed me. Like it's got its fucking hand around my throat. It's
Are
like,
you getting through some of the decks and stuff? And
yeah, I've got wins on the base difficulty with I think 9 of the decks, and then I've done like 6 challenge runs or something like that. Like I think what happened was I got into it enough where I was like starting to hit a little bit of a difficulty curve, but I wasn't trying new stuff, so I wasn't unlocking new shit very much. So it just
Okay,
felt like
got
I was
you.
hitting my head against the wall. And now this time, I've been trying new strategies and stuff, and now I'm just unlocking stuff everywhere, and it feels like the build possibilities have just opened up insane. But
Evan, have you played Balatro at all?
No, I don't know anything about it.
Did you
Dude,
ever
it's
play
so
like
good.
Texas Hold'em?
Like poker?
yeah.
Maybe 3 times in my life.
Okay. Was it fun?
Yeah, I thought poker was pretty fun. I've never really had people I could play it with consistently. So
Word.
that's why I played it like 3 times.
This is basically like it's like a roguelite deck builder game, but it's built on kind of very basic interpretation of poker.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's
Yeah.
not you're never betting. You're never doing any kind of like actual poker hard work, but it's like built on making poker hands more or less.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you make poker hands and then you get scored based on them. And
But
you're-
that's not even like a fair way to put it, because once you put like the modifiers and the Joker's cards and all the stuff you can build in a deck,
it becomes a
into the
completely
mix,
different
it's
thing.
it's like a this like crazy. It's so far
It's
from
really
poker, but
fucking
it's poker.
it's really fucking hard to explain to people is what it is because you always
Anybody
say
I've gotten to
poker.
play it has been like, holy shit, I put fucking 900 hours in.
Yeah, it's
you know?
it's really addicting and it's super good.
It's so dope.
Yeah, it's a great
You like
game.
that? Do you like that song?
What song?
The only song in it?
Oh yeah. Yes, I give you. It gets a little annoying. I actually put it in because I have a video coming out Sunday on more like indie games, underrated indie games, and I put Balatro in there, and I was looking up the OST to put a song in there, and I was like, wait, there's not more than one track, and then I was like, oh yeah, there's only one track.
Yeah, it's a dynamic thing where it's one track, and then they just change the stems depending on where you are in the game. The song kind of changes,
Yeah.
but
It's like
just an
DMC5
immediate
shit.
change. Like this song never stops.
It's that Doom Eternal tech.
It
Yeah.
is, and it also kind of reminds me of the World 2 music from Sonic the Hedgehog. I wish I knew what
I don't
world it
know.
was.
I've never played Sonic the Hedgehog.
Fair enough.
It's
Well,
a bad look
Sonic
to
heads
admit that
speak
you
out.
have.
Sonic kind of sucks in my opinion, so you're not missing anything.
Sonic's fucking
That's
shit.
what I've heard.
Sonic's terrible. I
It's-
will
have you
die
played
on this
Mario
fucking
Brothers?
hill. Yeah.
Have you played like Mario 1 through 3 at all?
Yeah.
Well, then you're done. That's it. That's the platformers you got to play.
Yeah.
Would
yeah.
would either of you ever dare touch the cursed Sonichu medallion?
No,
I
fuck
would not
off.
accept that in my household.
No.
I've
That's
seen
demonic.
people like
It's so
holding
cursed.
it, and I've been like, nah, dude, you could not pay me $205,000 to touch that shit. I would not.
Sonic
touch...
was mid.
Yeah, Sonic
Thank
was
you,
mid.
chat.
Yeah, I think it always was. It's fucking.
It was trying to sell attitude more than game. The gameplay does not hold up to Mario over
No.
time, in my opinion.
Mm-mm.
People play it for
Just
the
my
soundtrack.
opinion.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm a stupid bitch who needs to get death threats on their Twitter account
Well, I
heard
mean,
it. You're
all
first.
every day.
about the Sonic shit. All right, let's you guys want to go to some of the comments and then we can wrap
Yeah,
up.
let's see if
I'll do
there's some
anything
stuff.
you tell me to.
Okay. You
Anything.
better. Well, you already showed your feet, so there's not much left.
My penis has been out this whole time.
Okay. Evan, why don't you read the comments? I can't do this. You always do this, and I can't even
Well,
I'm like looking
I mean-
at it. I just don't even know what it says.
I mean, I've been keeping up
I
with a
can't
lot
really
of
read.
them. There's a lot of the comments they're interacting with one another. We'll work our way back a little
Do
bit.
the voices.
Yeah, you gotta make
I don't-
voices for each of them.
I don't know what they sound like.
Bruh.
A lot of this is responding to
Bruh.
what we were saying. There's nothing like really specifically that we need to read. You know, they're just
I never beat Metal Gear Solid 4 and didn't play 5, but I'm fixing that. I'm on Metal Gear 3 now. I'm literally playing 4 right now.
4 is so sick.
It's great. It's great. And I
think it's one of the best modern games. Like hands down.
it is.
And everyone
Always
I
has
know,
been.
everyone I personally know hates it.
Yeah. So
Why?
well, so that's what I'm getting into right now because I liked it when it came out. I didn't.
Me too.
I wasn't a huge fan of the Metal Gear series when I was younger. Like I played them a lot, but I didn't really beat them because I was so young.
That's
like I
crazy.
just couldn't figure them out.
Me too.
Like when I was really young, and when I was young, I had a huge aversion to stealth. In general, like I just didn't fuck with it and I didn't understand it. And it was only later that I really got into the games. But when it came out, I loved it. And even revisiting the games like as an adult and beating all of them and stuff, I loved MGS4. And it's partly because I honestly think, in my opinion, it was one of the biggest. It was the most ambitious Metal Gear game that Kojima that ever was made. I think it was the most ambitious one because I think it was trying to do way more. It was trying to do a lot of different things at the same time, and I think people really only focused on one. It was trying to tie up the game's stories was like one of the things it was trying to do, and people really only focused on that. With the other, Metal Gear has this issue that it's a pro and it's a con at the same time. The games, in my opinion, are fantastic because they can be interfaced with in multiple ways. Because you can just play them as like a cool, fun, crazy, wacky action experience, but there's also a lot of substance there to dive into. That's actually
No pun intended.
Yes. That's actually meant to be there. That's put there by its creator. And 4 has a lot of that, but for some reason, people only interface with the surface level. They only interface with the story, and they just like kind of act like the substance isn't there. And it's weird. It's really weird.
What do you mean? Like what level of it do you think people are interacting with?
They just interact with the fan service stuff and like the story.
Like the lore, like
yes,
like the big boss, the metal,
Yeah.
like the clone stuff.
Yeah, just like lore and how the story's being wrapped up.
Zero called it.
But that
For
ga-
me, like when I played that game, it was when I was like first becoming aware of like private military corporations as a real thing.
Yeah.
So to see for me to become aware of that, like Blackwater, Excalibur, I mean, I had friends who were in the like immediately affected areas, like during Katrina,
Yeah.
where like Blackwater was like doing all their dirty shit.
Mhm.
I not to get crazy political, but like you can look up. Well, I don't know if you can look up anymore because Live Leak's not around anymore.
Live Leak's gone?
Yeah, it's
Live
been
Leak got
gone for
taken
years.
down.
I didn't know
Yeah.
that. Damn.
It's been replaced by something else.
Yeah, there's something else, but I've been iffy on it. But basically,
Live Leak.
for a short
Middle
time in
school.
our country, there was a major national disaster where we allowed private military to go in and kind of do whatever they wanted.
Mhm.
And and they took footage of it. And it's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
It's some third world shit happening in America, which should give you some perspective on what people are saying when they say third world country. It's like, what do you really mean? You know, so
well,
not to get too deep, but then to start being aware of those things and then to play Metal Gear Solid 4 at the same time, I was like, oh my fucking god, this game is going so deep into my own reality.
Well,
Yeah, most people
Kojima-
don't even know Blackwater is a real thing, you know? They
Well-
don't even know what that is.
Ugh.
Kojima's thing isn't people like to think that he's like a prophet or something. He's not.
I think it just has pattern recognition.
No, he's
It's
just
it's not. It's not that. He just he reads a fuck ton and he knows a lot. Like if you read his book, The Creative Gene, like he talks about so many different books
Yeah.
throughout it that he's read, and like so much stuff on just like science that he reads and politics and stuff and history. Like he just
It's
knows
like
a lot.
Kojima's method is like the polar opposite of David Lynch's. Kojima like studies and works and learns. David Lynch just like sits down, goes into a trance, and the first thing he sees in his mind palace, he's like, "That's it."
Yep, that's going in. No,
That's
but,
really in his book. That's what he says he does. I'm not kidding. That is
No,
his
yeah.
mess. I read his book.
That's sick. I love that contrast.
He's
He
very-
claims that's how he comes up with all of his stuff. He like meditates and goes into a trance, and like his movies are revealed to him. Anyways, that's off topic.
transcendental meditation.
Yeah.
But yeah, he just knows like a lot of shit. So like, and it happens to work out that like, you know, he's reading into like fringe shit and underground theories. Like there's a lot of stuff in his games that he's like references that he's made to like real technologies that haven't, you know, materialized or become like the biggest thing ever.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the PMCs and like the fucking proxy war stuff. And that game is saying a lot about commercialism that's almost more poignant than the stuff in Metal Gear Solid 2 now.
Like the TV stuff when you first boot up the game.
Yeah, the commercials.
That is so crazy. That's like, I mean, that's on the same level. I mean, we were talking, I don't know if this is like pre-stream, but like, it's on the same level as like a world peace kind of thing where it's like, you're holding a mirror up to the media.
Yes.
It's at that level for me where it's like, holy shit, like look at Metal Gear Solid 4, the fake TV shows and commercials, and then directly contrast that to modern media. Like we're there. It's not that he was like predicting the future. He just kind of saw what was happening and goes, oh, let me just amplify this
Yeah.
a touch.
Yeah, and
War has changed.
well, that's another thing too. Like that whole thing about the routineness of war and like that terrifying idea, like how there used to be, I don't know, how people used to go to war for reasons, and now it's just kind of propping up a military industrial complex. There's the whole game itself is sort of this commentary on the game, like on MGS4, and like the fact that it kind of shouldn't have been made, and that like, you know, nostalgia. It says a shit ton about nostalgia. That's like
It's
super
so
poignant
hard
now.
to encapsulate. It's such a fucking meta experience.
Yeah,
it's like
super weird. I don't
it's
think
so
that,
fucking good. It's such high art. It's so good. I can't. If anyone hasn't played it,
Yeah.
please, my God,
it's great.
try to.
It's great.
If you
and-
have a decent PC, you can play it through emulation pretty well.
Yeah, and it's you were saying like why didn't people like it and stuff, and I think
Oh yeah, why? Because I at the time I thought it was the shit.
yeah,
A lot of people couldn't get over the upfront silliness, like Johnny and the diarrhea situation. It's like, oh, he has diarrhea because he didn't receive the nano machine. People
Yeah.
people couldn't wrap their brains around it because it seemed like
Wow.
cognitive dissonance. They couldn't tell if the game was like being serious or not.
There's
Billy Madison's my favorite movie, so I I like the diarrhea stuff.
There's two in my opinion, there's two types of like Metal Gear fans. There's one type that really thought that the amount of Kojima in Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, and 3 was the perfect amount. And then there's other Kojima fans that went, wow, I want more of this. I want it to be even more Kojima. And those are the people that are going to really enjoy MGS4 and Death Stranding. And I consider myself one of those people. Like I like Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, and 3. I love them, but the idea of there being more of the weird shit and the craziness and the over the top stuff and the meta examinations and all that shit is like, yes, let's bump it up a few notches. And I think MGS4 did that. And obviously Death Stranding did that quite a bit.
Have you played any Suda 51 games?
I haven't. I'm really not.
Really?
Did he make Lollipop Chainsaw?
Yeah.
I've played that.
Not really.
But that's
Kinda.
it.
That's like he worked on that.
Okay.
I will say
James Gunn was really responsible
Yeah.
for a lot of that.
that's a lot more. You can see more of his style. If you could ever
Yeah, I've
play
never
like
really
Killer
played that.
7, especially,
Uh-huh.
I think you personally, just watching your videos and seeing the kind of shit you're into,
Yeah.
I think you're gonna blow your load for Killer 7.
I've been wanting to get into those games. Like
Because,
he's been
like,
on
if
my
you-
list, but
If you do you like Metal Gear Solid 4?
me?
Yeah.
It's his favorite.
It's my
his
favorite
game.
It's one of my
Oh,
favorite
okay.
games of all time.
Yeah, okay, then yes, you will love Suda 51.
Okay.
Because Suda 51 is someone who saw people like Shinji Mikami and Kojima and saw what they were doing in the industry and said, like, okay, let me take their most punk rock works
Mhm.
and make it even more punk. Like
Okay.
he is a self-identified like punk rocker. And
Yeah.
I know, like, you know, I mean, in music, you know, I don't know what you're, I don't know if you're like an LA guy or something, but like,
No.
you know, I know punk is whatever to a lot of people, but in terms of like, you know, a punk rock aesthetic in an industry, you know, like he took that really seriously, like Suda 51.
Mhm.
He makes punk games. And I think of Metal Gear Solid 4, when I think of what I like about punk rock and DIY ethics, I see a lot of that in there.
Yeah.
But Suda 51 takes that way further, and it's crazy to me that he got games published with Nintendo because his games are so fucking hardcore and so out there. But he touches on all these topics, but he also, like, Shinji Mikami works on a lot of his games. So
Yeah.
the actual gameplay is like unique and tight as hell, but man, he gets into all these hard to articulate topics about like meta narratives about the industry, but also about the culture at the time and the culture in the future, and all these ideas about self and government and world politics. Somehow Suda 51 also touched on those things in a way that I think is even slightly more visceral than even Kojima gets to,
Hell yeah.
because his work is like a little less commercial.
Yeah. He's working on a game with Swery right now, the guy that made
Yeah.
Deadly Premonition.
Yeah, Hotel Barcelona.
Yeah, and I almost saw him, or I saw him physically at PAX East. There was a booth there for Shadows of the Damned, the remaster for that, and he was like, it was actually a really cool booth. There was like a bar, and they like made a bar, and then there were like these very luxurious chairs that you could sit on to play this game. And there was only like 4 stations, and then he was at the bar sitting and talking to people, so you could line up and then you could have a seat at the bar and talk to him and his translator and ask him questions and stuff.
That's
it was
so sweet.
It was pretty cool, and I wanted to play the game, but I mean the booth line was just so fucking long, and I didn't want to stand there for 5 hours.
Well, I would love to hear your future thoughts on like Killer 7 or some of his early games.
Yeah, he's been one of those people that I've really wanted to check out, and I mean, I've seen a lot
as
of
an
those games, but-
outsider. I think you would really dig his shit.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's on my list.
He's, yeah.
Well,
I don't know anybody personally. I know no one who has played any of his games.
really?
I had a friend in high school who gave me Killer 7. He was like, "Yo, this is gonna change your life."
And
And
it
it
did,
did.
apparently.
I have one friend.
I was like, "Holy fucking shit, this is insane."
I have one friend that's a massive Suda 51 head. I probably wouldn't really know about those games if it weren't for him, to be honest.
I don't know how he hasn't broken through bigger. He's so fucking cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems like it every time I hear about him, it seems like he's like Kojima level, but then like you look at the games and it's like, oh, it's not really that big. It is more punk rock.
Yeah,
like
no,
you're saying.
his games are not the. You'll tell when you play them. The budgets are not the same.
Yeah,
it's
definitely different levels.
Yeah, Suda's games are a very different kind of rule of cool, you know?
Yeah.
Like they're a lot less appealing to what I would describe as 90s Western media appeal.
Totally,
if that makes
yeah.
sense at all. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Kojima was making stuff that is still like, I don't know a better way to say it, like tactical cool, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Whereas Suda 51 stuff is more like
It's for weebs.
yeah, it's like anime cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like
it's
anime
like,
cool.
oh, do you like visual novels or rail shooters?
Yeah.
You know?
His stuff is more anime, way over the top anime cool.
Yeah. That's cool.
But
I
like,
mean,
like in Killer 7, like
cool
you
is cool.
fight the Power Rangers.
yeah. Hell yeah. Yeah, I mean, cool is cool at the end of the day to me. If it's cool, it's cool.
But also, I mean, it's cool to me too because it does dip into this world politics stuff
yeah.
in a way that a lot of media in general is afraid to confront.
Mm-hmm.
And I was so impressed by Kojima with Metal Gear Solid through the whole series, like talking about these issues.
Yeah.
And just in a way where I go like, okay, I understand like maybe you don't have a solution for something like private military corporations, which is like a pretty weighty issue.
Yeah.
But I would at least hope that like you're aware of it.
Yeah.
And we could at least as a society understand that these things happen. So to have like accessible art that like even talks about these issues, I think is really sick because it's like, hey, that's real. And like maybe that's like not something you could ever weigh in on a like a way that would make an impact because you're just a citizen who has no power. But at least you should understand what's going on in the world around you and just be aware.
Yeah. And
maybe that's a burden, but
not only is it accessible, it's like one of the most popular video game series ever, and somehow it has like all this shit in it. It's fucking
yeah,
wild.
it's pretty wild.
It's Metal Gear,
and it's so horny.
Metal
They
Gear.
love
there's
butts.
worse.
They love a nice sculpted ass.
Yeah, Metal Gear Solid 4 is fucking horny, super horny.
I-
I found out
I-
today that Kojima made the Beauty and the Beast ladies mocap nude because he originally wanted the Beauty and the Beasts to be nude in the game, but they
I
wouldn't
wish
let him.
that happened. That would have been
basically
so wild.
are.
They wouldn't let him because they said it was gonna fuck the rating. So he was like, well, we got to put suits on them, but we're still mocapping them nude. And then he
I
did-
mean, Phantom Pain had the Parasite unit.
yeah, and he did.
Do you remember that? And then Quiet.
Yeah, he did. Well,
Yeah.
did you see the clip too of the actress for
Yeah,
Quiet saying
he
that
mocapped her feet.
he mocapped her feet and they never used it?
I think it's
Oh, it's in the
obvious
game.
that Kojima goes, hey,
It's in the
just so
game.
everybody knows, I'm jerking off to all of this.
Yeah,
Well, the good thing about Metal Gear is that it's very fair because I mean, if you play Metal Gear Solid 2 for 10 minutes as Raiden, like it's very fair to both sexes. Like
Yes.
between
Yeah.
Raiden and Solid Snake, it hits both like types of like male
well,
appeal.
you
like,
can't
like,
say
No,
sex
it's
appeal.
it's just generally horny. It's not misogynistic. It's
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
that
it's
game
fair.
wants to fuck.
you
that
can't.
game. Well,
You can't
All the
say
games.
that.
I mean, Kojima wants to fuck anyone.
I
Anyone.
think he just appreciates like conventional beauty. Maybe I don't know.
You can't say
Yes,
you can't
I
say that
agree.
Kojima like that he's like misogynistic or anything because with his depiction of
He
that
did
specifically
say all women are bitches.
He did say that.
And I do remember that tweet. But
I won't,
go on.
I won't defend that. But
I'll pull that up for proof in a minute here.
I think people believe
I'm typing right now.
but
What
just
are you saying, son?
just to prove that thing wrong, like in MGS4, you know, you have the Beauty and the Beasts, but fucking look at Snake's ass. There's so many shots of Snake's ass, that skin tight fucking suit around his ass, and like his fucking muscles and shit.
There's
the
a
whole
whole
time.
there's a whole gameplay section in Sons of Liberty where Raiden is naked.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I was saying
I mean-
specifically for 4, because a lot of people use 4 to
With
like
the
further
ladder
that
shots
thing.
and stuff are gratuitous.
Oh yeah. Kojima
He put
is a
Raiden in
certified
high
Coomer.
heels, like.
He's probably less of a Coomer than CD Projekt Red, to be honest. But
Yeah, well, but I think it's again because I think CD Projekt Red actually does want to fuck. That's the thing.
They
I don't
want-
think
they
Kojima's
are
is
fucking.
actually. I don't think Kojima's is coming from a place of I want to fuck. I think Kojima just has a strong desire to like display like conventional beauty. You know, I think he wants his games in
I
all
hear you.
cases to look visually like visually conventionally attractive, to put a strong like contradiction to the brutality of the war. So
Mhm.
like 4 is very it depicts a lot of like brutal combat and war, so it has that contrast of the way the characters look. I think that's more of what's going on there. But
You're talking about Cyberpunk?
no, I'm talking about
And
Guns
Witcher.
of the Patriots.
But like in
No,
contrast to
yeah, CD
you're talking
Projekt
about
Red.
CD
No.
Projekt?
I'm talking about Guns of the Patriots in general. I think Guns of the Patriots depicts a lot of brutal warfare.
When I said they were
Yeah.
Coomers, I was talking about Witcher and Cyberpunk. All of every single game they've ever made.
with
has
CD
a lot
Projekt
of-
Red, I think they actually are just horny.
CD Projekt Red makes him basically say like, yeah, I'm hard.
Onward! David Goggins! Jocko Willick!
Okay, it's probably about time for us to wrap up. We're a little over
Yeah.
2 hours.
Wrap up time.
Hidden Machine, what do you got going on? Where can people find you? What's coming up? What's the next thing?
Listen, so basically, I've been in a creative hell because this summer I've been doing like 2 gigs every week.
Whoa.
Wow, you got my fucking sound
Yeah, I
drop.
started playing your video.
That's wild.
Hidden Machine.
Oh yeah, you can see my channel. It's just we recently dropped a Yeah I've Played is our book club analysis discussion series. It's kind of an X-rated. We talk a lot about titties, cum, caca, doo-doo, piss, all the bad stuff.
They are great.
on the
They're
on the
fun. They're very fun.
Hidden Machine Yeah I've Played series. Yeah, it's a long-form discussion series. It's a podcast. It's also available on Spotify.
Hell yeah.
But I don't know. It's like I'm gigging every fucking week. I work full time in my real job, and then I'm doing my fucking fake job in a band on weekends. I'm working 12 hours like 6 days a week. I'm so tired.
So you're trying to find.
There's nothing going on.
places
The
for
channel
shit.
is dead until I get some time. But the next thing will be earlier today. I just uploaded. It should be live any moment now. To our second channel, Hidden Machine Annex, where we put other stuff up. I'm trying to clear out my comics collection. If anybody wants a bunch of free comics,
Oh.
you can tell me. I'll send them to you.
Oh shit.
I'm going through long boxes of books. We have a channel, series on our channel called Flipping Through, where we kind of flip through print materials. So I did a bastardized version of that where we're flipping through my comic collection.
Oh, that's pretty
I go,
cool.
what should I keep? What should I get rid of? Someone should take these books from me. If I can send a media mail, it'll take like nothing to send them to you.
Yeah.
So
Free comics. You heard it
yeah,
here.
but the other thing, like I said earlier
Oh,
at the top of
shit.
the show, I am trying to get out this Hitler video.
Evan's gone. Evan
It's
died.
because I said Hitler video.
Yeah, I think he heard that and he left.
So we talk about Bionic Commando. We talk about a lot of other games, and just trying to figure out
weird.
like
He's back.
why is Western media obsessed with putting Adolf Hitler in games? Like, what other political leaders, or even what other fascists or people responsible for genocides over the past, we'll say, 200 years, can you think of that have been in 10 or more games
Yeah, literally.
as
none.
the main character? It's
It is-
weird.
it
It's
is
weird,
interesting.
right?
Yeah, it's a good concept for a video. When you said that, I was like, oh hell yeah, that's fantastic. You
So,
do have I
That'll
will
be the
say-
next thing. I'm finishing up right now, but man, it's very fucking weird. It's a weird thing. I go, what is this?
Yeah. You always
What
have
are we doing?
you always have really good concepts for videos. Last time you were on the micro games video was coming out, and that was a fantastic video, The Weird World of Micro Games. Your
I think
concepts are really
any
good.
freaks could find that, I think I made a really great video. It got almost no views.
It happens.
But I think if you're a freak, that's a little nugget for you.
Yeah, go check that out. That's a fantastic video.
Basically, if you ever liked WarioWare, you go, what is this?
Mhm.
I went into the whole history like 15 years before, even like 25, 30 years before WarioWare, and then like 25, 30 years after WarioWare.
Super well
What
researched.
is that?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of weird shit, and there's some stuff I didn't put in there. Man, I found, like, as I play these Japanese games, especially games that were like exclusive to the arcades, there's a lot of weird sex shit in those games that they do not put on home consoles,
Yeah.
but they would put them in the arcades.
Never make it.
I found some weird ass shit. I did not put it in the video,
Damn.
but just know, man, holy shit. Some fucked up games I found that remained arcade exclusives.
Damn.
I don't understand. Japan, America, our sex games are usually like on Steam and they're some indie guy.
Yeah.
But mainstream companies do sex games in Japan and then they censor them for the West.
Yeah. Yeah. Japan's always been crazy.
It's wild to me.
Yeah.
I didn't think when I went into looking at the history of WarioWare would I find a bunch of weird sex games.
That's what
But I
happens.
did.
He did. And you can check it out. Watch that video. Watch the upcoming stuff. Watch the I've played. Those are fun too. I like those.
Link in the description.
Links in the description.
Thank you, and it's for real this time. You
And-
probably said that every time I was on, it was never there.
No, we've never said that because I knew it wasn't there.
Yeah.
Evan, what do you got coming up?
Nothing quite as exciting as any of that, but I've got my video talking about every Star Wars game released on the Nintendo Game Boy Advance. Should be out tomorrow night. You can look forward to that.
Sick.
Hit up my channel, subscribe if you want to hear me talk about every Star Wars game on the Game Boy Advance. That's
Hell yeah.
coming. Should be tomorrow night. That's it.
I got an indie games video coming out Sunday. It's one of the positive ones about good indie games. I'm trying to figure out a way to make a similar series to the worst Steam games, but that talks about good indie games. Because I play a lot of indie games that are really good, and I make a point to play a lot of indie games and try out new stuff. And I want to, if I'm going to be spreading so much fucking negativity talking about shitty games, then I want to be able to kind of balance that a little bit and talk and, tell some people about some good ones. So I'm trying to figure out a way to make that work with titling and thumbnails and stuff. So I'm trying out a new thing this Sunday with that similar concept. And then I'm just going to put my nose to the grindstone and work on the MGS4 thing. I've got a lot of really good ideas for that one. We've talked about some of them tonight, and that one is coming soon, ish. It's probably not soon. It's probably gonna be a while. That one's a hefty beast. So look forward to those. And as always, next week, Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, TGG Plus, we will be here live to get you ready for your weekend, and we'll have another guest next week. Who could it be? Could it be Tim Rogers? No, it's not Tim Rogers. Could it be Jeff Keighley? No, it's not Jeff Keighley. Hideo
Matt
Kojima?
Booty?
Oh, could it be? It could be any of these people, but it probably isn't. But it'll be somebody fun.
It's gonna be one of the interns at Game Ranks.
I told you that you're not. Bye.